Hello, welcome to the Critical Obsession podcast. My name is Mirella,
And I'm Zoe.
and today we're going to watch and react to episode 9 of Not Me.
Can
Can you believe it? We got to episode 9. Episode 9.
I can't believe that it's episode 9 already. I mean, I can because, but like, you think about it though. I mean, except for our little brief hiatus that we had, we've been doing this for a lot of weeks now because we've been doing it like week on, week off with vice versa. So I don't know how many weeks is that? Like what, 16, 17 weeks? It does not feel like we were talking about doing this that long ago. Like it seems not right to me in my mind. Has that much time really passed?
I just cannot believe we're going to talk about episode 9 today.
I will confess, Morella was doing something, and while she was doing it, I was watching the episode 8 part 4 kiss again, just because, for reasons. Like, get myself in the mood. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so a few important things happen in this episode, just a few. I remember watching this episode.
A little bit significant, just a little bit.
Yeah, just a few things. But yeah, I remember watching this when this episode aired. And yeah, I have a story. I'll wait till we get back. Once we've watched the first part, I'll tell my story. But yeah, it was it's funny when I think about it. Like when I remember it, I always laugh. So my mum laughs too if we talk about it because she was there.
Okay, so let's go watch it.
Let's do it.
Part 1. So, the tent scene.
Yes, the tent scene. So my story from when I first watched this episode was it was really funny. I don't know why, but we were running late, like Mum and I, for like watching it live. And I honestly don't know why, because like for my time it was about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that in the morning, on a Sunday. Anyway, I rushed out. My mum was already in the lounge room and she had all the lights out because, Not Me is a pretty dark show, like in terms of the scenes and stuff. And so I've gotten used to like watching it in the dark. And I like stumbled into the lounge room. I had my iPad with me. I don't really know why. And I was kind of using it, I think, to light the way or something. And I went to go and sit down. And as I sat down, I must have like opened like Instagram or something, like by accident. I touched, and straight away there was like, was it either Instagram or Twitter? I don't know. Straight away there was like a scene from them in the tent. I think it was like the ear sucking and I was like, I fell off the chair, dropped my iPad, and was like, oh my god! And then I had to like quickly shut it because I didn't want to get spoiled. Mum's like, what? I'm like, nothing. I was like, I was not, because I was not expecting the tent scene, like at all. Like, I had no idea the tent scene was coming. Like, we had the lovely kiss at the end of episode 8, and it was really nice. I was like, oh, now they're going to start to, like, start expressing their feelings for each other. I really was not expecting them to express them in a physical manner.
Yeah.
In the tent. Although I really probably should have been expecting it, given they gave, like, Pinucci gave us plenty of warning in episode 8. With the whole, like, you'll be thanking me later, I'm going to pay you back later. There was a lot of innuendo about what was going to happen in that set. But in all honesty, I was not expecting it, and I just about died. Like, and my mom's laughing at me because she's like, why did you fall off the couch? What did you see? She's like, what is about to happen? I'm like, you just need to watch it for yourself. I don't know how we're in this place, this thing that I just saw. I don't know how that happened. And so, yeah, the episode starts, and there's a tent.
There's a tent.
Oh, yeah.
Famous tent on a famous building. Yes. The people go visit apparently just because of that scene.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
Yeah, tourists. I saw someone post on Twitter that they went there and someone who was working nearby saw them, this people who were looking for the building, and kind of smiled because they probably understood why these foreigners went there. Yeah,
I must admit, it would be cool to go up and climb up to that top section where the kiss in that world. But although I don't know that I'd actually do it because I don't like heights, so I'd probably be like, I'd be standing on the roof bit looking up at that going, oh, this is nice, let's take a photo. But yeah, it's just, yeah. The whole start of this scene as well, it's like, because as I said, like when the first time I watched this, I was already like bamboozled and completely baffled as to how we went from like a sweet kiss on the roof to like sucking ears. And there's really not that much in between, like, that gets you to that point. But the whole bit, like, where they first get in the tent together, and Sean asks why, if he's afraid of him, and he's like, no. But I love how he says, so what are we doing? It's like, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
him off the roof and into the tent. What did you think was gonna happen?
that's also the. And he went first. He went inside first.
I know, right? He's like, I'll just go in here, and if you follow me,
Wait to see what he's going to do to me if I stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's also. Remember when he first moved into Sean's room? There was also a conversation like this a little bit, like, are you scared of me? And then White was like, no. And then, what are you going to do to me? And he responds, what can I do to you? And blah blah. So this is something like that has happened before, but in different circumstances.
Yeah, like a nod. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He looks a bit scared though. I mean,
why?
When you're scared but you still want to do it. Do it scared.
Like, I feel like for White, it's like he's hasn't thought about it. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, I honestly don't think it's occurred to him. You know, like, it's like, even like liking him, like, I think he was starting to realize that he cared about him. But there's a big difference between caring about what happens to somebody and being in love with them. You know, I mean? Being attracted to them.
I feel like with him, the way he responds to Sean's needs is intuitive. It's not really something that he thinks about. Maybe he avoided thinking about it because it meant complications. But he still responds to what Sean needs in a very natural way, but without really understanding what it means. Yeah.
And as you said, it makes sense because from his standpoint, like, this isn't his life. Like, he is, you know, he shouldn't be having things for himself. Like, he shouldn't be having thoughts for himself. Like, that's not what his intention or his original intention was for what he's doing. But he's just like, he's fallen and he can't get up.
Yeah, because the way I see this scene is like, some things he does consciously, some things not really, because he went there inside based, I suppose, on his need, but at the same time he's waiting for Sean to do something to him because he feels that Sean needs that. He feels that Sean wants him and needs him, and so he basically presents himself as an offering to Sean. But then at some point, when Sean starts moving towards him, he realizes that he discovers his own attraction and desire for him, because you basically can see that on his face when he's like, oh, I want this, I want him, and then he starts acting.
Well, it's funny too, because like, this whole conversation that they're having here, besides it being like a nod to, as you said, the previous discussion and the previous circumstances of their relationship, it's almost like it's a great way to show the difference. Like, now it's different. You know what I mean? Is that he, as you said, he does look, initially, he does kind of look afraid. And I don't think that he is afraid. I think it's just, he doesn't really know, like, what to expect, what is actually going to happen, what, as you said, like, he knows Sean wants something from him, but he hasn't, as you said, thought about it. So it's like, it hasn't really occurred to him, like, how it will affect him personally.
Yeah, he acts on instinct, but he doesn't really know what the hell is going on right now.
Yeah.
Although maybe he does, maybe he does at this point, but
like, honestly, at this point here, I don't think he does, because like, he, at first glance, he kind of does look scared, but I think he just looks more unsure to me. And it's not like he's not, like, he's there, like, he is totally there, like, he is there for whatever's about to happen. but
maybe
not really sure like what that is.
maybe
And then,
he's not really sure what exactly Sean wants from him, like
yeah,
how far he'd go.
how far is he going to take it? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And because I mean, this is the thing. If we look at it from the standpoint that like he's never had, you know, a gay relationship before, then he wouldn't really know like what's the normal steps, what's the normal progression. You know, I mean, they just kissed for the first time. Like this is like going from 0 to 160 kilometers an hour, pretty damn fast. But it's so funny because it's like he's like he's taking everything in. You know, like but he literally says to Sean, like Sean says, you know, like what should I do to you, sort of thing, and he says to him, "That's up to you." Like he's giving Sean
Permission.
all of the power. He's basically saying, "We'll do whatever you want to do. Like I will do whatever you want to do," which is a huge admission anyway, especially without realizing exactly what he's agreeing to. It's like a huge level of trust and consent happening right now. And
It's like, yeah, take whatever you want from me. I'm giving
yeah,
it
and
all
if
to you.
Sean
Yeah.
if Sean was like
Remind
an
me of a
asshole,
song.
yeah, and if Sean was like an asshole, he could totally have taken advantage of that here. But instead, he goes really sweet, and he's like, he constantly asks him for consent, essentially, by checking in with him and saying, you know, do you like this? Do you like this? And it's so cute and it's so sweet and gentle, and you know, even with the ear sucking aside.
You know what?
Like,
I did not get started like that because I watched the scene. You know,
yeah.
I wasn't spoiled, but the moment that White went to, you know, attack the ear, I think I jumped back as well, because like that is very intense and it feels like it's coming out of the screen or something. I don't know, the way it's feels is like, oh.
Yeah, it is. It's funny because the bit that I saw was Sean sucking White, and that sounds so wrong. But anyway,
Must you say
yeah,
that?
listeners know what I mean. His ear, people, his ear. Everybody, calm down. I don't know if I cannot comment on if he sucked anything else. I do not know that, but his ear. You're just like, oh no.
It's okay.
No, I'm breaking my own brain. Yeah. So, when he did that, it's so funny as well to me because, like White does the whole like, oh, it tickles thing, and I know Gun is super ticklish, so I remember like laughing at that because it sort of took me out for a second. But yeah, to me, the bit that you're talking about is so funny because it's like White is taking everything in. You know, the way he watches Sean in this scene is so interesting because it's like he's like fully absorbing everything. You know what I mean? It's like Sean is being so careful with him, but at the same time, like White is just like watching him, and Sean's like, is this okay? Do you like this? And he's like, yes, I do like this. And it's so funny. It's like he comes to this realization that, yeah, I really like this and I can totally do this. And you get this like bold move from him where he's like, I want this. Like, I want this too. I want to go. Let me have a go. And then we get him like climbing into Sean's lap, and we get the the mutual ear sucking. And it's funny too because like there's like so many like little nuances to this scene that I absolutely love. So like I love when he's doing that, how Sean's hand comes up on his back and like grabs like a fistful of his shirt. Like it's so kind of like real, I guess is the word I'm looking, because I don't think Sean was expecting that either. But then Sean, I don't feel like knows what to expect. Like I think he never really knows what White is going to do in any given situation, except back him. You know what I mean? Like, and so this is like the ultimate. This is the ultimate version of like White black backing Sean's play, basically, by him like copying. And it's so funny because it's like the whole thing is there's a, like, you know, we were joking before about the 10 scene, and like, you know, everybody talks about the 10 scene and everything is kind of iconic now, but like it's such a respectful and intimate scene, but also kind of like sensual. It's like it was done so well.
I agree. I remember thinking that was one of the most beautiful love making scenes, whatever, that I ever saw on TV or in movies. It's besides the fact that it was filmed in a very interesting way, it was, as you said, sensual and tender and intense, and it just gets you to feel something. It's like when you're inside the tent with them, it's like you're living through these moments with them. There are these moments like that are a bit voyeuristic when they're filming from outside the tent. I wonder why that was done like that. Maybe just because of commodity.
It definitely switches the intimacy, doesn't it? Like the intimacy, you feel the intimacy way more when from the scenes inside the tent than from the outside of the tent. But maybe that's, to remind us that that we are
chill people. You're watching them. And I just there's a lot of conversation lately about sex scenes in movies and TV and if they're needed or not. And I think it depends on the way they're filmed, because a scene exists to tell a story, to show you how a character gets from point A from point B, and especially such a scene, right? Because it is there to progress the story forward. If the characters are different at the beginning of the scene from the way they are at the end, if they changed, if that's the thing that happened with them changed them, and they show you how they changed and it is reasonable for you, then I think it's justifiable for the scene to be there.
Look, I mean, I think that definitely, but I also feel like sex is such a huge part of like most people's lives, not everybody, but like a lot of people, it's a huge part of everyone's life. So it seems weird to ignore that as well, like brush over it. Like sometimes, and some sex scenes as well that I've seen, and I cannot like think of any examples right now. There was one I saw not that long ago though, and it was like extremely messy, and by that I don't mean anything gross. I just mean like it was an absolute disaster. And it was like, I remember seeing people say like, why couldn't they have given us a,
what
like
kind
romantic
of scene? Where was that?
Like,
where was that?
Just I can't think what it was from. I know it was like a het scene, so it was like male female.
Was it in a movie or a series?
I fucking cannot remember. I think it was a series. I don't know. It might come to me. But anyway, it was like just messy. Like a lot of stuff just went like, like they it started off sweet, and then like someone gets elbowed in the face, and then like it's like if it was very realistic to like how sometimes sex is with a person for the very first time, because you're not always completely in sync from the beginning. Like it's not always perfect. It's unrealistic. And so I remember seeing people like saying like, why bother? Like, why not? Because it didn't have, like what you said, it didn't have, character development. It didn't necessarily have a plot point necessarily or anything like that. But what I found interesting and what I really liked about it is it felt very real. Like it didn't feel like I was watching two characters or two actors on a screen. It felt like it was very true to real life. And it felt like this is something that might happen, and, that it, because of what happened in this scene, it built a different level of intimacy between these two characters. Because to a certain extent, I suppose it did do what you were talking about. But it was like, so I feel like it doesn't necessarily have to have a plot point or like even character building. But I think to cut it out completely is also like does it a disservice. Like I don't feel like it needs to be there gratuitously or anything, but I also feel like it can be really important, but it doesn't have to be that it's based on, major things or anything. It can also just be that like you need to feel maybe their intimacy and their trust. You need to see them in a way that makes them that close, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining it properly. Yeah. Like, and this scene does such a brilliant job of showing us not only like how much they trust one another, but like how much they care about each other, and it makes so much like things that happen later on make a lot more sense because of this. And it's funny because, as I said, like my argument that I've made, well, not my argument, but like my pet peeve that I've made, very much well aware while we've been talking about this show, is that like when it was airing, lots of people were talking about how sudden the romance was and stuff like that, which I disagreed with. And to me, this helped. I feel like this helped people. Maybe they didn't even realize it, but I feel like this helped a lot of people get to that place where like I already was, because I had noticed like the nuances in their, like how their dynamic and stuff was shifting like earlier. So this was not like, this was only a surprise to me because I wasn't expecting this level of intimacy straight away. But then Pinucci just did everything different, you know, with this show, which I'll touch base on in a minute. But like I feel like by having this here, a lot of people got that trust, and that the way they tend to each other, the way like Sean
Yeah,
is so soft for him.
because of the scene for the what happens later between them makes
Makes more
sense.
sense.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. And so I feel like people were able to accept the later story, who were still struggling with this idea of them having feelings for each other, even were able to get on board with that because of this scene, because of the way the scene was shot, because of the way the scene was written.
There's a point to it existing.
Yeah, I think maybe even the point to, you know, you were asking about like why we got the scenes from the inside and the outside of the tent, may have even like been a way to reinforce that, because it was like we were getting this insight into their intimacy, but we were also like, it was also kind of like, okay, that's enough now. Like now let's move, like now we move on. You know what I mean? Like
the rest is not for you to see.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, I felt that very much. And it's funny.
Yeah, I had that feeling with the scene, the love scene in Last Twilight. It was also felt, it's, I don't remember exactly, but I feel like it was filmed through like material, or like it was a bit unclear, and like probably a reference to they not seeing, but also just to make you feel like you're really not supposed to see that. In a way, like it's very intimate, and you're not a part of that. But here you are a part of that, because what happens there is very important for you to understand the characters, but at the same time just, you know your place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I felt like that was very much the case with this. And it was one of those things, because as I said, I wasn't expecting it, purely and simply because they had literally, from my perspective, I saw the development of their relationship, and it wasn't rushed to me. And so when we had the kiss and then this happened, I was like, wow. And it was mainly, I was surprised, not because it was happening so fast, but because, like, as I said, it was like White's first, like, it was like their first kiss, and like White was still kind of like, had no idea, like, I feel like he was like, you know, he was just there. But then you see him in the very beginning of this scene, you see the moment where he's like he realizes, like, he knows this is what he wants, this is how he feels. And you get to see it like over the next couple of episodes, like within the flashbacks to what happens here, and also like the aftermath of these scenes, like the scenes that follow this. He lets himself bleed in even more, like more of White bleeds into the black, if that makes any sense, of what he's been, like, he becomes more himself.
It's like he finds his place. He finally knows where his place is.
Yeah. And I remember watching this, and just this whole scene where where he sort of stops them and they're holding hands, and I remember being absolutely devastated by the way White starts crying here. And the way he says, if I'm not black, the black you used to know, will you be okay with that? And I'm like, I remember thinking, like, well, yeah, because he didn't like black. I mean, like, he didn't like black. He likes the white black. He likes the white version. But yeah, and Sean's line of "I've never known you better than this before," which is so true. You know what I mean? Like, this whole scene is just and yeah, I would be so curious to know what Sean thought of all of this. Like, I would have loved to have actually had a inner monologue of this moment. Like, what was he thinking about the way White, or let's look at it from his perspective, Black is crying in this scene?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not, it's very clear that he's not afraid or scared or not wanting to do this. It's got nothing to do with that, but he's like, he's afraid of something. You know what I mean? It's not, and it's just, I don't
But
know.
I don't know,
Maybe
maybe
if you're white, sorry, maybe if you're Sean, you're thinking that, like, because they came from such a different place, like their relationship was so like tumultuous before, that he's scared that like past history would, affect what's happening with them or something. I don't know,
I think
like, what
maybe
Sean is thinking here.
Sean is a bit anxious about Black, let's say Black, leaving him and um, regressing back to his old ways. And I think
Yeah.
this is something that scares him, and he is ready to give him a lot of space and not really push for answers because of this. He's like, I'm just going to take this as it
Yeah,
is.
take what I can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like, yeah, we see that later on, don't we, from him? Like, there's so many holes in what he's being told, but
Mm-hmm.
he would rather have White than not have White, because his life without White, his life before White, there was nothing in it for
Mm-hmm.
him. And so, yeah, he would rather take the good and the bad and still have the good than not get anything, essentially.
Yeah, so I feel like episode 10 is his worst fear about, this whole thing, this relationship realizing, because,
Yeah.
Black becomes Black again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, also in this scene, the bit where he pulls the button off and asks if he can keep it, I'm like, Sean, what was that about? He's such a twisted little being. Like, what is that? Like, it's such a, like,
Trophy. It's like a trophy.
yeah, it is like a trophy, and it's so funny because he's so careful and like respectful, and like, it's like he knows that it's like White's first time, or I don't know. He's just really very like a certain way in this scene because he cares so much. Like, you can see, like, I mean, as I said, I rewatched the last bit of episode 8, and the way he's looking at White on the roof, like, he's just like he's just like, I love this person, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is my person, right? And so, and you see that in the way he treats and handles White in this tent scene. But then he does this thing, it's like he can't help himself. It's like that, like, caveman kind of man thing comes out, like, it's very, like, it's like a trophy, but it's like very possessive as well,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like,
Mine. Yeah.
yeah, very much so. And it's, yeah, this button destroys me a bunch of times in this show. Like, seriously. And for those who are curious, yes, I did buy the bracelets made out of the buttons because I have no sense when it comes to money, and I had to own them. Yeah, and so, like, the that whole bit was just like, I'm just like, he's such a freak. And then of course we have Black waking up, and
Oh God!
he,
Like, of course, of course they did it like this. But at the same time, when I
well, you
saw
know
that for the
what?
first time, I was like, "Oh my God! I cannot believe this is what they decided. This is the way they decided to wake him up."
Yeah. And he's like crying as well. Like, it's clearly because there's this emotional connection between the two of them, because
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
White is crying, Black is crying, like, the moment is heightened, the emotion is heightened, right? But all I can think now, at the time, the first time I saw it, it made complete sense to me. I was still like, thought it was funny, but I was like, I got the emotional part of it, right? But now when I watch it, I can't watch it without laughing. Because if you haven't watched it, there is episode reaction video with P Jenny and I think P Golf and Gun watching this episode, and I believe Gun says something like, "Oh yes, Nong woke up P by getting poked." I believe it's something along the lines of that is what he says. And so now I can never watch this scene without laughing because, like, it's like, that's where everyone's mind went anyway, let's be honest. That's where most people's mind went.
It's like it should either wake you up from a coma or wake your brother through the weird connection or put you in a coma. Otherwise, it's just not worth it, right? Now, referencing to Michi and the Blossom, because I started watching that.
Yeah. But it's like I'm thinking, like, you know, like if you're black and you find that out, like that's the way you woke up. On one hand, he's pissed off because Sean like defiled his brother, but then on the other hand, wouldn't you be pissed off that it took him so long? Like you could have done it earlier, and I would have been awake already. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh God. So, you know.
Yep.
It's just, yeah, as I said, so I have trouble.
That was a choice.
Without laughing.
Doing it
was
that way.
I feel like we get to see Pinucci's humor here. Yeah. Given that I never read the book and I don't know, like, if this is even a thing in the book. If it was, maybe it was like this in the book. I don't know. If not, then this is definitely Pinucci's humor. But I just love Gun took so much pleasure in wording it that way as well. Like he was like, so yeah, thanks to him, I can never watch this scene without thinking about it that way. But then it switches and we get this whole like super sweet moment between the two of them with the whole thump 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 bit. And they're just so sweet in this episode. Like this whole episode, they are so sweet. And
yeah, like see the way they are after this. It's just
yes, yeah. And it's
they're an item now.
This is what I meant when I said about Pinucci doing things completely different to the rest of the industry. Like prior to this, I don't think I had ever seen a BL specifically where like the morning after you either see them have sex or you assume they've had sex, because a lot of BLs like it's more like innuendo that they did it than like you kind of like, did they do it? Did they not do it? You know, like you assume they did. But I had never seen one ever where they had woken up the next day, been so sweet to each other, been so confident in what had just happened.
Yeah.
No doubt, no misunderstandings, no arguing. You know, like there's so many BLs where I've seen it, they've like had sex the night before and then there's a misunderstanding, they fight, there's drama, and then they're not speaking to each other and there's like just drama.
Or like they have sex and like then they wake up and there's even more space between them because now one is like a predator and the other one is like, no, don't touch me, no. But here like they're just, the level of intimacy has changed.
Yeah. Or they have sex and all of a sudden it's like they're not even dating anymore. That's the other thing that you see commonly.
Or they have sex and then they wake up and they just behave the way they did before that, like as if nothing
like
happened.
Nothing ever happened. Yeah. Whereas this was so refreshing. Like besides like the like sweet and how much fun it was to watch and how like good it was and everything, it was so refreshing because it was so new to me. I was so surprised. Never ever had I seen this, you know, where they wake up and they're so sweet together and they want to spend every second together. Like it's different.
And they want to kiss all the time. They want to touch each other all the time because now it's different. Yes. I
mean, like, how many BLs are there out there where, like, you get one or two, like, stilted kisses?
Well, you know, it changed. After, there's a period. Yeah.
They do not kiss until, like, the end of the show. Or not again. There's a bunch of BLs where they'll have a couple of kisses, they'll have sex, or whatever, or you assume they've had sex. And then there's no intimacy ever again for the rest of the show. Like it's like they're bros suddenly. Whereas this, it's like they're so like if they could have stitched themselves together, like I feel like they would have done it.
Very realistic, or at least the way I see it, like the way I feel it happens.
Well, this is when I feel like when you like before we started the podcast, Meryl and I were talking about couples who are like a little over the top or whatever, and I said I couldn't handle having a partner who was super like, because I'm not like that. However, this I completely understand. I get this. When you know, the first time you're with someone and you really care about that person, you kind of don't want to, like, it's like you're in this, I'm bringing up bubbles again, people. But it's like you're in this own little bubble world of your own, and you don't want to burst the bubble. Like, you want to stay connected to this person, because you've had, if it was a positive experience, you've never felt so connected to someone in your life, and you don't want to feel disconnected, because it makes you feel a little bit empty afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, you're so in tune with one another that, like, it's natural to want to, you know, keep this intimacy going. You know, I mean, obviously bubble bursts eventually because reality gets involved. You have to go to work, you have to do whatever, like, shit happens. And you realize that, you know, oh, we can still pick this intimacy up later on because this is who we are now. But, like, when it's that first flush of, like, romance and everything like that, this is very realistic, and it's heightened because of the situation they're in. Like, they're very life or death at the moment. So, you know, and also neither of them have ever had anything like this, and they're kind of alone. Like, they're both kind of alone. You know, like, Sean is essentially, well, no, Sean is an orphan, and let's face it, White is essentially an orphan too. All he's got is his brother, who is essentially in a coma at the moment, as far as he knows. And so they're both alone. Like, all they have is each other. Like, that's how they feel. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yes, they have friends, and, like, I know there's the whole extended thing happening here, but, like, initially, like, essentially, like, to them, this is how they would feel. Like, this is their people. This is, you know. And I mean, White even says, like, with the monologue, which I love, where he says, all this time I've always believed that the soul connection and the longing were exclusively for me and my brother. And like, I love how he comes to this realization that it's like him and Sean have a soul connection now. Like, and it just makes me want to cry uncontrollably because it's so beautiful. But it's just, yeah, I just love it. And I love the scene where he wakes up and, you know, goes and sits on the roof or on the, like, balcony bit or whatever you want to call it. And Sean gets up and joins him. And I have to do a little mini shout out here. If you've never noticed it, guys, you need to watch this scene, because when Sean gets up, you get to see the world's smallest camping chairs. They are, like, so tiny. Like, oh my goodness. Who is sitting on those chairs? Like, like, really? Like, even putting gun on one of these chairs would be ridiculous. But anyway, enough about the chairs. But seriously, they're actually really cute, but they're super tiny. I don't understand their purpose. But I love the aftercare that we see here with them as well. Once again, we get to see how much they care about each other. Like, they both literally at the same time ask each other if they're okay. Like, you know.
And White wants to tell him, but he is scared.
Yeah, he's so scared. And, like, this is another one of those scenes that Pinucci totally, like, screwed with us. Because I remember there was a trailer for this scene, and I don't know if it was at the end of episode 8 or if it's at the end of this episode. I don't know, but it made you think that, once again, that Sean knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think it's at the end of this episode, the trailer for episode 10, it's in there. Like, there's, like, a flashback to where they're talking here or something.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he asks White something. I can't remember what he asked, but it like, alludes to the fact that he has suspicions, and that his suspicions are on the right path. You know what I mean? And we're like, oh, once again, I was like, oh, he knows. And then episode 10 happened, and I was like, he doesn't know. It's devastating. But, yeah. But yeah, the aftercare, as I said, because they're so in sync, the way they just are both like, "Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine." Like, it's just, I love the way
soul connection established. They are just open with each other and very vulnerable and just very sweet. And the thumb scene is just melting
gorgeous.
my heart every time I see it. Yeah.
I mean, literally the only thing that's between them at this point is the fact that
That little thing,
Sean just
White's
yeah,
identity.
it wa-
That little thing.
yeah, it's so funny. Like I
No one cares
I'm
about.
like, this one thing between them, and then I just had like a complete mental blank. I'm like, what's the thing again? Oh yeah, black.
Oh, and
Yes,
black, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. But anyway,
Now
and then
that
of course,
the poking has happened, he woke up. Yeah.
yeah,
Forgot
that's
about
right.
that.
He's pissed off because he got poked awake, apparently, according to Gunn.
Anyway, so then we see
switch
Yok.
to Dan and Yok.
Yeah, Yok arriving at a police station. And he is really cute. I'm here to report a crime, officer. And the other one looks at him with his doe eyes, as if suddenly the sun appeared in his police station.
I feel like Yok came out of the womb flirting.
Maybe.
Like, honestly, I do.
He's really
because,
good at that.
Literally everything that comes out of his mouth is, like, a massive flirt.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
And so they're going to have a date, right?
They are. They're going to have dinner, yeah. It's interesting to me as well, like, I guess, like, in terms of his character, because we talked about his character a little bit, I'm thinking back to that scene in one of the earlier episodes where he misunderstands Sean and Nemo's friendship. Because, like, in his mind, you know, that's what's happening. So it's like, it's interesting the way maybe he looks and sees things. It's funny though, because he never like notices what's going on between White and Sean.
Well, because he's got his own thing now. Like, he has other things to concentrate on. He like has that interesting, mysterious police officer who also has a secret identity and looks at him with doe eyes. Like once he wants to be rescued or something.
He has his love goggles on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I'm just thinking about it. Like, Gunpei is so smug later on about like how he saw what was going on and how he knew about the two of them and all the rest of it. And I'm just thinking back, to like the first episode or something where Sean and White fight with the oil. And like Gunpei is the one that like finds them like rolling around on the ground, like doing whatever the fuck they were doing. I feel like he was given an unfair advantage because when he came upon them, they were, I don't know, like they were meant to be fighting, right? But it looked a lot like they were rolling around, like just rubbing up on each other. Because I remember he was like, "What are you doing? Like, what the fuck?" So he already had like an insight that no one else had, and then he just built on it. All the sus shit that kept happening.
Yeah.
So we're about to go on a date with Dan and Yok.
Let's go. Let's go them. Let's go to their date.
Yeah, let's go and be voyeurs on their date. Alright, cool.
Part 2.
He said that really cute. I do. So dramatic.
Well, of course, episode 9.
Yeah.
It must be dramatic. I'm dramatic, but like in this isn't this the moment to show that?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes.
Or like I feel like I'm scared of part 10. I'm like, can I do this and be analytical? Can I watch these scenes and like really think hard about them? Stay tuned.
I think you can. I
feel like I probably had enough distance. But then I haven't watched it a lot, so I don't know. Like it'll be funny. Like it'll be funny either way because I'm, you know, at least the saving grace for episode 10 podcast for me is that it's a podcast. And so you won't actually be able to see the ugly gross crying if it happens. my dignity will be slightly saved by the fact that you won't actually be able to see me looking pathetic. You might just get to hear me being pathetic.
Oh, I just had a flashback to episode. What episode was it? 9 of Last Twilight, where we were recording and I was crying while we were speaking. I was listening to you talk and I was crying.
Last Twilight is such a trigger.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Can you imagine if you watched this, like, recording the podcast while watching it for the first time?
Oh, sure.
That would have been
like,
such an experience.
Oh my god, episode 10 would have been a nightmare. I was so traumatized by this episode. Like, and you know what? In actual fact, this podcast would have been hilarious because I was so convinced that Sean knew. Like, I cannot underline how much I was wrong in what I thought was happening in certain aspects of, like, different scenes. And when episode 10 happened, I was so, like, gutted. I was distraught. As soon as I realized what the fuck was actually going to happen, you know, and you got this, like, foresight of what was coming, I was like, I spent at least a good chunk of the episode being like, no. Mum's like, it's not going to be as bad as that. Don't worry about it. And then we were both like, what? No. Like, we struggled hard.
So, let's get back to episode 9.
Fun for next time. Yeah, back to episode 9.
So, he did a background check on him. And they flirt a little bit.
Yeah, they flirt. So, Dan basically admits he's interested in Yog. So, we get that acknowledgement from him, which we, like, let's face it, we knew already, and so did Yog. That's why he's been so persistent. It's not like Dan really hit it very well. But
that's correct.
Yeah. And then, of course, he tells Yog that he painted his first street art here.
And Yok is very curious because usually if someone creates something, their first work can be quite autobiographic. And so he asks, is that you in the painting? Because there's a policeman there. And Dan responds that, yeah, that is him. And you see this expression on his face. Like, it's clear that he is having trauma flashbacks.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so, this piece of art is so interesting because, like, he's painted himself, like, the officer or the police officer in the picture has this big smile, looks like giving, like, what seems to be some sort of salute, which generally is a sign of respect, but it can also be, like, a gesture of acknowledgement as well, which is kind of interesting. But it's, like, it's clear that the imagery of himself in this picture, given that we know, we the viewers, well, we know now anyway. If you've seen this, you know. But, like, I knew. Like, I knew it was coming, more or less. I had kind of worked it out.
Now that you mentioned the smile, I had the thought about the smiles, but I think I'm going to mention it a bit later after we talk about the history.
To me, it's like a mockery of himself. That's what the imagery looks like to me, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like this. I like Yog in this scene, like when he says to him, you know, they joke a little bit about the painting, kind of, and then, or about art in general, and then Yog says to him about if he wants to hook about it, but if not, it's okay. But
basically, just the way White did it with Sean in episode 8.
Yeah, essentially, essentially he's inviting him to share, but he's not being pushy, which I really like. And so now we get the scene where Zoe's conspiracy theories come into play.
It's interesting that the way we see the scene, though, because we see the Sean's dad, and I mean, spoiler alert, I guess, but come on, you are going to find out anyway. So we see Sean's dad inside the car and the driver, and if this is a memory flashback of how Dan tells the story to Yog, he cannot know this. So is this what actually happened, or is this how he thinks about this whole thing? Oh, he decided that the person who was he had no, like, the person who he killed was innocent. Because the way this scene goes, it makes you think that Sean's dad was not aware of what's going on.
Yes, hence my conspiracy theory. So yeah, it definitely looks like it could play out that, or it's just, as you said, it's either from his perspective and his mind, because he clearly feels like he's done the wrong thing. Like he shows you, like, show us that he tells his superior that essentially, there's a reason why he's torturing himself.
Yeah.
Is because he feels like he shot basically an innocent person, because this person was not shooting at him. He shot at someone he thought was shooting at them, which would not be an innocent person. This person in his mind is innocent. So to show it like this, it could be his imagining of what happened, but I actually feel like it's just Pinucci giving us a bit more of the story. Like, I feel
bits
like,
of insight.
Yeah, I feel like it could be one of two things, and I feel like she did it that way on purpose, because she loves the saying of "it's how you imagine it" or "it's how you think it is." So I think it works either way, however you want to look at it. From when I say my conspiracy theory or my joke about that, is that I'm of the party that his dad was probably innocent. He seems, from the backstory we have, the way Sean seemed to have a happy life, the way the wife was surprised, like, just, I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't have been a bad person, but the whole thing, if we take it at face value, and this is an actual memory of what happened and not just Dan's, like, imagining of it, then it very much looks like Sean's dad did nothing wrong.
It kind of paints the picture that, these individuals, they're faulty, but it's not really their fault, because it's a systemic thing that causes these tragedies to happen, and for people to turn out like this, to act like this. I mean,
that's right. And I mean, if you think about it, because I remember there was a little bit of discourse about it at the time online and stuff, because, like, some people didn't really pay much attention to this scene at all, like, in that part of, like, for that point of the scene, but, like, some people did, and the discussion was around, like, what they thought. And I mean, as I said, I'm kind of team, like, I think Sean's dad was innocent. But then the question is, like, why did he run? Well, I mean, he ran because he was scared. Obviously, the guy scared him. I mean, it looks, if you watch the scene, like, he's not afraid when he sees the police. He isn't afraid until the guy next to him says, like, when I say run, run, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, then he gets scared. You know what I mean? And some places in the world, people don't trust the cops. You know what I mean? Well, a lot of places in the world, people don't trust the cops. So if someone tells you that something, like, bad might happen, you're gonna run, because, like, that fear, that flight or fight instinct kicks in. And unfortunately, it's a set of circumstances. I mean, it does also underline the fact that he probably or potentially may have been innocent. The fact that he wasn't carrying a weapon, the fact that he didn't try and hurt anybody, he was just essentially running for his, like, running away in fear. And the guy who, like, said to him run or whatever, seems to be, like, in the know. You know what I mean? He's the one who had the weapon. He's the one who whatever. So you can look at it any way you like, but that was, like, my conspiracy theater, and that's why I was, like, saying in the previous episodes that, like, how tragic it is that if Sean's dad was innocent, he has no way of proving that. Like, he has no way of, saying to his son, like, letting Sean know. Like, Sean has no way of, like, the only way he could ever find that out, the only way he could ever get that justification for himself would have been if oh my god, what is his name? I've just completely blanked on the villain. Tawi had come out and actually, like, confessed, which, let's face it, he would never do. So it's like there's a tragedy in that as well. You know what I mean? Like, he will just never know. And
I find the conversation between I don't know who that person is supposed to be, like, some kind of a superior. Like, his superior. Yeah, superior. Yeah. So he sits in front of him and he tries to, like, talk him out of that mood that he's in. Yeah. And he says, "Oh, he's a criminal. That's okay. Like, if he just did not resist arrest, this wouldn't have happened." And then he says a thing that is correct, basically, that if we don't retaliate and they shoot one of us, what would you do? Because in this situation, you cannot really blame him for shooting, because you're fucked either way, you know? You shoot someone, you feel awful because you shot it. You did not shoot, then you live with the guilt that you could have saved someone, you know, who was innocent and was shot, and you had the, you know, the gun in your hand, like you could have done something, right?
Yeah.
So you're fucked either way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation that police have to deal with, I think, because it's always one of those things that's often in the news and stuff when someone gets shot, and it's like whether or not it was, you know, a justified shooting and things like that. And quite often it turns out it's not, and then other times it is. And I mean,
yeah,
the
because
thing is
in this situation, the guy shot to the police, and then they responded, right? So it's even right. It was made easier for the sake of the viewer. But at the same time, there's this thing, the way the superior talks about it, it's like, it's okay, he's a criminal. I've been through a lot of this. And it feels like there's a bit of dehumanization in the way he describes the story. Like, he got so used to it, he doesn't really see them as human beings anymore. Yeah, and then Yok then says something like, it wasn't his choice to get transferred, it's just that no one wanted to work with him. And I feel like maybe no one wanted to work with him because he couldn't let go of this situation. He couldn't move on. He was very empathic. He was very human. He had, he didn't want to become desensitized. And he kept thinking about it. He kept like digging into it. What was the problem? Why? How could he resolve it? How could he mentions a word, redeem himself, right? And it must be very heavy for other people who just move on and do not fixate on stuff like this.
Well,
you know?
I think the other thing is as well too, is there's a fear of, like, if you work with someone like that, I mean, like, even, like, so for example, like, being a medical professional and working, say, like, in an emergency room or something, like, if you've got someone who hesitates, like, maybe something bad happens and so they hesitate because their confidence is gone. You know what I mean? Like, he shot because in that moment he felt confident that he could protect or prevent, the situation getting worse than it already was, or whatever. It was his duty, so that's why he did it, whatever. Now he doesn't have that confidence. Now he's questioning it. So if you were someone who worked with him and you were his partner or something, would you feel safe with him in the car next to you? Like, would you feel safe that, like, if someone pulled a gun on you, that he would protect you? Or would he hesitate now because he's not sure? You know what I mean? Like, because of the way his mindset is, like, I can imagine that that's another reason as well why people would be afraid to work with him, because if he is hesitating in a situation that's life or death, then, like, I mean, you don't want someone who's gung-ho and who's, like, whipping their gun out and, like, shooting everybody, but you also don't want somebody who's afraid to pull their gun out, because that's also how people get killed.
He wasn't really, because he kept thinking about the fact that he shot the person who had no gun. But it might be like this as well, because it affects you probably, and then you do not react the same way in other situations. Exactly. But I just had that thought, and people, the fact that he couldn't move on and other people did, like that superior of his. And it's like, I thought about the way he draws people into his paintings with a smile on their face. And it's like, let's just do everything and pretend nothing is happening.
Yeah, let's just
not even act like humans, not react like humans anymore, with empathy and consideration.
It's like everything's fine, everyone's fine, move along. Yeah. And I mean, the other thing as well is, I also wonder, it seems like he's the kind of person as well who potentially maybe would have tried to maybe look into things a little bit too, which also, like, if his superiors are on the take or something, like getting bribes or whatever, they wouldn't have liked that either. So that could have been another reason why he got moved, and also why people didn't want to work with him, because if he's doing something like that, like, even if you're, some of those things, if you're in a bad situation, so, like, sometimes people do bad things for the right reason, And
Mm-hmm.
like an example of that in this sort of situation could be, you could be a good cop and you know things are bad, but you can't do anything about it. So you just keep your mouth shut and you just do your job. You do
Mm-hmm.
what you can do to help people,
Mm-hmm.
because if you were to speak out or try and come up against these people, well, maybe you might find yourself, with a pair of concrete booties at the bottom of the river or
Or
something. You know
maybe
what I mean? Then you've got to
if you leave, someone else takes your place, and it's someone who does things wrong or
bad.
hurts
Yeah,
people.
that's right. But sometimes it's as simple as the fact that you've got a family or something, and you can't be altruistic. You can't go out and risk it all because you have other people rely on you or something like that. So sometimes people, there may have been people who didn't want to work with him because he was painting a target on himself, essentially, or whatever, or they were afraid
Mm-hmm.
he might paint a target on himself.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many reasons why that could have happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's probably a little bit from all of them, really,
Yeah.
in that sort of
And it's
situation.
complicated, of course. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Complex.
And I mean, yeah, this idea, like this piece of art, is really interesting. Like I paused it so I could get a good look of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like he's standing in the middle, like with this creepy big smiles. I mean, I have to assume that the person splashed in red is meant to be Sean's dad, and funnily enough, also has a creepy red smile.
Mm-hmm.
Not creepy red smile, creepy big smile. And it's like everyone is smiling. It's interesting too that they're all surrounded by like splashes, like whether or not that's symbolic of like injury, like not injury, but like personal slights. Like maybe these are all people that he couldn't help for one way or another. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was unable to get justice for them. Like maybe not all as serious as say like Sean's dad, but like other things that in his like while he's been doing things, he hasn't been able to resolve these issues, and so this is like how they're represented.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Did you have any other thoughts about the art?
Oh, the way I saw that is that he painted blowing up someone and how it
Yeah.
affected other people, how their lives got destroyed as well, and he represented it in a way, when I suppose, I don't know how to say this, like when you shoot someone there's a splash of blood or whatever, right? Or like if
Yeah,
there
like
is something like that, and he just maybe is haunted that but by that image, and he
yeah.
feels that he wronged people, and he's doing that he projects that image onto everyone who was affected by him.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting actually too, because it could also be, as you said, like almost like a resonating trauma. Like, like he shot Sean's dad, and then all of these other people were affected by that trauma in the same way. Not in a death function, but like in different ways. Like they
Mm-hmm.
were all affected. Like you said, like this ripple effect. In actual fact, this painting, if they had done it like this, because there's a woman who looks like quite big, sort of standing above him,
Mm-hmm.
close to the red figure, a red splashed figure. And if they had drawn another person, like another male figure holding hands or something with her or whatever, it would have been really interesting, because you could have taken that to be like
John.
Sean's mum.
I mean, there is another figure there, right? There's a who's also
Oh, there's
blown up and
several, but
like with
yeah,
severed limbs or stuff, and
yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
There's a lot going on in this picture.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. That, so I would love to know like the artist who wrote this, like not wrote this, draw this, because obviously like it was done for the show, but also like they would have their own interpretations of like what was asked of them, because that's what art is essentially. And so it'd be really interesting to actually have the artist who did like all the artwork for this like explain like what they're, because we've had theories and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been nice to like be able to go back after we'd like had our own theories to like find out exactly what they were thinking and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting too. And of course then they have this argument, don't they? Like, because Yoka's Yoka's frustrated here. It's really interesting actually. And I mean it shows the differences in their personalities
Mm-hmm.
really well, this argument that they have here. It's so interesting to me too, is because it kind of like they have this argument and then it just kind of gets blown over. which is, all kinds of things to say about that. But like, so Dan's like status on the whole thing is that like he hasn't been able to resolve anything, but he's like waiting like for the right time, like the perfect time to fix things or to like try and make things better. And in the meantime, he just tries to do as best he can, kind of thing. Whereas Yoke is very much of the party that like, you have to, if you want to fix something, you have to be proactive. Like he's basically calling him out and saying like, what are you waiting around for? Like he says to him, like, you want to try and make something better, then you should be trying to do it, not just waiting for the right time, because the right time may never happen.
Yeah.
Like waiting for the right time is kind of a cop out. And I must admit, like as much as there is like some irresponsibility to like the actions of the group and the way like they are kind of gung ho about things, including Yoke and stuff, I have to agree with him here. I respect what he's saying here, because waiting around for the right time for something, like, okay, yeah, sometimes that's the thing you should do. Like sometimes, it's not the right time to do something or like whatever. But like the way Dan is talking about it here and like the excuses he's making, it really does feel like it's a cop out. And it's like this is all he can do. Like he can't put himself out there. And this is another example of like Dan basically saying to Yoke, I can't be that person. Like I'm not that person.
But maybe at the same time he doesn't really know what to do, because he said he was waiting for an opportunity to do something, and when he sees Dan, when he sees their group, he gets so obsessed kind of with them and with what they're doing, and maybe he thinks this is his opportunity.
But at the same time, he stays on the peripheral. Like he doesn't want to get involved. Like the only reason why he actually ends up getting involved is because of Yoke. Like because Yoke won't leave him alone, essentially. So if Yoke hadn't so actively pursued him,
isn't this something that
maybe he would have like kept an eye on Sean, and like if Sean had gotten in trouble, maybe tried to help him out or something. But I don't know that he would have got involved like in the way he does.
I do remember how he ends up getting involved, actually. So
sorry,
I don't remember how he ends up getting involved into their.
Well, it's more just so much that it's more that like he gets together with Yoke, I think, from memory, and then he's just kind of there when stuff starts happening. So and I think also once it comes to light that he is the one who shot Sean's dad, and Sean finds out and everything, it's like he can't
hide anymore.
He feels like now he has to do it, even though like Sean doesn't want him there. You know what I mean? Like he feels like he needs to do this, but yet the follow through is not there because he's not. I don't want to say he's weak because I don't think he's a weak character, but he's like, I don't know,
traumatized.
Maybe there's a lot that obviously that happens, and like when we get there, we will talk about it for sure. But I don't know. I think maybe I'll come up with a better word. Maybe it's more that we don't. I don't know. I have so many feelings about these characters, and it's funny because when we first started doing this podcast, I was like, people are gonna get mad at me, blah blah blah, Daniel, rah rah. But I as we're doing this, my feelings and stuff and my thoughts are changing quite significantly to my original opinions on stuff. I'm very aware of the fact that my thoughts and reasoning are different. So it'll be interesting to see as we go along if what I'm thinking now changes. I don't want to articulate too much now what I'm trying to say because it's not really like important at this point in time, and it won't really make much sense. And I think I'm going to change my mind anyway. But it is, he does seem to struggle with this idea of like not just putting himself out there, but maybe that's because he's afraid of something else bad happening. Maybe
he's afraid of making fears get worse.
Yeah, he's afraid
of doing something and making things worse. Because he's done that. Like he tried to help and he made things worse for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose as well, like, I mean, what can you really do to make up for like taking someone's father's life? Like, there's not, he can't bring him back. Like, there's not a lot. It doesn't really matter what he does. That's never
Mm-hmm.
gonna. It's never gonna be enough. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's just there's very little that he can do that would ever, you know, justify in Sean's mind. Like, even if Sean forgives him, like, there's just very little that he could ever do to make it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you know,
So
with the guys, like they have this game, right, where they choose a target. Like, what do we want to do? And right now, their target is Tawi, right? But in Dan's story, he is the villain. There's no Tawi to focus on to fight. He's the villain who lives in a faulty world, and it's like he needs them. He needs other people to help him focus on something else that he can, you know, even like if he decides to do something about the things that are bothering him, he right now, what would he do? Because he has himself to, like, as an obstacle
yeah,
in front of himself.
yeah, he's kind of like one of those characters where you say like they're their own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And so like they're having this like full on argument, and then all of a sudden Dan's like, I want to know your story. Like, it's so weird to me how they just switch zones like really quickly. And I guess it's one of those things, isn't it? Because it's like I guess it shows the difference between Sean and White and Dan and Yoke, in that Sean and White are so in sync, and for the most part, except for the whole black of it all, they're very honest with one another, like very, very to a point, like point of fault almost honest with each other. Whereas Dan and Yoke, they're, even when they are being honest with each other, they're not paying attention, or they're not being truly honest with each other or themselves. And so like there is a disconnect there. So anyway, so we go from that essentially to Dan wanting to hear his story, and Yoke saying like there's only one important thing in his life, but he doesn't want to talk about it. And then of course he's joking, and it's all like ha ha ha, flirty flirty, I'll take you to meet her, being of course his mother, which we know.
Yeah.
And then it's time for the tent again.
Holding hands.
It's the morning after. Yeah, I love that they're like sleeping holding hands. I mean, like, who does that? So romantic. And it's so funny because I'm like, it's so romantic, and then in my mind I'm once again flashing back to the reaction episode when he did with P Jenny, and he's just like, oh, it was so hot. He's like, it was so sweaty and gross, and it's like, Gun, stop ruining my romantic illusions. But I mean, it is like that. I mean, everyone who's held hands on a hot day knows it's sweaty and gross, but like, you just live with that because you love the person, all right? But yeah, I love that they're doing that, and I love like how comfortable they are in this scene. Like, I love how bold White is. Like, he wants to do something, and so he just does it. Like, he already knows. Like, it's like they've given so much consent to one another already. Like, he knows he's welcome in this place. Like, he can kiss, you know, Sean, and like, you know, touch him while he's sleeping, and Sean is just like, morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so cute. They're so cute together.
And the line, I want to walk with you again.
Yes. And it's so funny because like that line like wasn't even meant to be in this scene. Like, there's a little tidbit. I remember Pinucci writing about this or talking about this. It was either Pinucci or it was Pinulak said something about how they couldn't hire the bikes this day. Like, they didn't have the motorcycles when they were shooting this scene, so they decided to like make them walk. And it's like, it's perfect because
it's like a happy accident, I think.
Yes, it is definitely a happy accident. And because it ties so neatly and so beautifully into like later stuff. But also,
it's like a theme here. I want to walk with you.
Yeah.
Or motif, rather.
Exactly, yeah. And it's so beautiful because we're getting this like super cute like intimacy of them like walking and playing together. And you know, I love the bit where they go over the fence, and it's so cute, and you have this like brief glimpse of OffGun because they totally improvise that bit. But I also love how like White's shirt is gaping in these scenes because of the missing button. So you have that like fun continuality. So you have like that it was shot in the right order, which is always fun. But also it's like, yeah, he's like, it's all on display because his boyfriend took his button.
And Sean takes him to the place of his rebirth.
Well, it's
because
funny
he
too,
says
because
he goes there after something terrible happens to him.
Yeah.
And he challenges himself.
Things.
Yeah.
That's right. There's a couple of things about this. The first thing is when they're walking there, it's so funny because White gives Sean this look like, where the fuck are we going? Because there's like climbing all this industrial stuff and that. He's like, are you taking me somewhere to like murder me? Like he just gives him a look, which is just really cute. And then of course suddenly they're there, and yeah, the bridge. I saw the bridge and got sad. Like honestly, I'm so triggered by the bridge scene. In episode 10. But
yeah, next like, episode he will go there for something terrible to happen. Not after.
Yeah, I know, right? And I love how it becomes a place that, like, it doesn't hold negative memories for them because we see them go there again later on, which is nice. And also, it's that place where, where White goes later on, with his brother, and we have almost like a rebirth, like kind of like a baptism kind of thing that happens at this place, which is just it's a very meaningful place for them. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I was like so triggered for a second though when I saw it. I was just like, no.
And the thing where Sean jumps and he's like, oh, White, now it's your turn. And I'm like, this just makes me think of a quest, fight the dragon in order to get to the princess. And Sean's like, come on, fight the dragon for me. I'll give you something in exchange.
Yeah, bargain. Yeah. Well, it was so funny. I hated this scene when I first saw it. Sean says to him, if you win, he basically says, if you win, you can ask me to do anything. And, like, if I win, then I'll ask you to do anything. And I just knew. White law. I knew. I said to my mom, I like literally looked over and I'm like, I hate this. And she's like, why? Because it's a super cute scene, right? And she looked at me like I was a crazy person. She's like, why? And I'm like, because this is going to be used to cause pain later on. Like, this is going to be so fucking painful. Like, he's going to ask him for something and it's going to destroy me. And
okay, but it wasn't that bad. They were quite merciful with the stuff from episode 11. I mean, I cried, yes, but it did not last long.
No, well, it doesn't. That's right. But at the time, I was just like, I know. And then as soon as he says that in that scene, I was like, no, it's happening. Yeah, it was trauma-inducing.
Yeah.
There was lots of crying through. There was lots of me taking my glasses off to watch this show because they kept fogging up when I was like crying. But yeah, I love it when he falls and he's just like, Sean's like, oh, you lost, ha ha ha, like, and it's so flirty and everything. And White's like, I did not. I was just pretending because I wanted to hug you. Like, he's so full of shit. But the way he says it is like so flirty and adorable. And Sean is just like, the look on Sean's face, like he's like dying because he thinks he's so cute. He's just like, how dare you?
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, he's flirting with me.
Yeah, he's like, I want to die. He's so cute. I love him so much. So yeah, and it's just, and even the bit, and like White is kind of pissed because he lost, right? Like he doesn't really like that. And then the whole flirting bit, and when Sean is like, the loser doesn't get to bargain, and suddenly like White's face is all like, nah. He's all like, what dirty thing is he gonna make me do? Like, that's totally his face. And I was like, love. I was like, oh, sweetie, love. It's bad.
It's like looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm like, don't
dirty
get
thing.
For it, it's bad. I'm like, in my mind, though, they get a do-over later on where, like, White reminds him that he owes him something, and then Sean makes him do something extremely naughty because Sean is totally a freak.
Well, maybe, maybe he waited until the law to have, equal marriage opportunity was busted, and then he was
poor
like,
thing.
remember the deal.
Although I feel like
My husband.
they do the jump again, don't they? And they play the game again, basically. And that is essentially kind of what the outcome is that they want to be together forever, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not much. Seriously, I'm just like, oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
They're so cute in this scene. I feel like Punichi did such a good job of making us be like, oh my god, they're so in love. I love it so much. I love love, 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 love. And then like she just like destroy it. She sets fire to it in episode 10.
Yeah.
She's like, do you feel all soft now?
But then
Your weak points.
but then it comes to life again, like a phoenix.
It does. Yeah, she revives us all. Yes. But first she's like, oh, let me just this heart, this beating heart, you're not using this. For a moment. I'm gonna take it out and stick pins in it.
Have black stamp on it a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Have him kick it around like he kicks Sean's face around. Oh yeah, I know we're slowly talking a little bit about episode 10 here, but I feel like we're like not only are we like preparing you guys for it because it's coming, but we're also low-key preparing ourselves. It's gonna be so hard because Marilla is so far away from me. I don't even have her to like hold my hand. She'll have to do it like, what do you call it? What is that? What's the word? Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
You know, what's the word? Oh, yeah, technology, my brain. Oh, I don't know. It's gone. Seriously.
Send you virtual hugs. Yeah.
Yes, virtually. She'll have to do it virtually. Yes, please. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for.
Really?
It's so funny because I was thinking of the gift, you know, the sending virtual hug gift, but I couldn't think of the word virtual. Yeah. That is it. Yes, she will virtually have to hold my hand. That sounds really weird,
do that. No, we'll do it. We can do it.
Find gifts of virtually holding hands. Lots of them.
So,
but yeah, we still have parts 2 and 3. 2 done. We still have parts 3 and 4 to do yet before we get to 10. So
yeah,
we can do it. I know we can. I believe in us.
Let's go do it.
All right, part 3. Here we come.
Part 3. In case you feel the difference of between the way my voice sounded in the last part and in this one, is because it's been years.
A million.
Yeah. And I'm sick right now. Again.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah. When it started, I was like, what's happening?
When are we?
Yeah, what happened? I don't know. But yeah, so
York is being stalked. It's very impressive that he noticed the person who's stalking him. He's very aware of his surroundings, even like across that stadium. That's impressive.
So I like how you're complimenting him because I'm totally about to be that person and like make fun of him.
Well, yeah, that must be done as well. We compliment each other well.
That's right. We bring different parts to the table. So because as I'm watching it, you know, like same thing. I was like, oh, you know, yep. I also thought it was funny that like he automatically thought the guy was kind of like stalking him. I mean, he was, so like kudos to him. Mm-hmm. But also like I'm like, how suspicious are you? But no, the thing that I wanted to like kind of make fun of him for is like running away from the safety of the public and lots of people to an isolated like what looked like a backlot parking lot. Like what? Why would you do that? Like, stay where the people are. Like, this person is not going to come and accost you in front of like a bunch of witnesses. Like, just stay where you are and like call for backup or something. Like, don't, you know, don't go like running off into the middle of nowhere by yourself.
Yeah, and when
so
he runs and Dan appears, I'm like, why are you there? Are you stalking
because I
him?
was because I was like, Yurik is being stalked by multiple people, and he only noticed the one.
Yeah. And also the
But yeah,
moment
like
when he
that.
gets into the car and Dan pushes his head down onto his knees. And you know what? I'm surprised no one made any, suggestive comments.
People did. People made lots of jokes about this.
Surprised
When
York didn't, considering his personality.
I feel like he did. I feel like he did.
He did?
Yeah. Like, I could be wrong, but you know how P. Jenny and oh my god, I've forgotten what his name is. Oh, I like only talked about it like last podcast or it was, but once again, people, that was years ago. Is it Peacock? Oh no, I don't think that's his name. But anyway, they were doing like a reaction series where they were watching each episode and like uploading it like a day or so later after the episode as like it was airing. And of course, like we had the episode where, as I said in the previous, in the previous podcast, or was it the beginning of this podcast? I don't know. Like, I don't know what happened at the start of this episode. Where he was all like, where Gunn was like, oh, no, it was this same episode. It just feels like it was so long ago. Because they, the tent scene is the beginning of this episode, yeah?
Yeah. Yes.
Hello?
Can you not hear me?
No,
Hello?
I couldn't hear you. Hello, I can hear you now, but I couldn't hear you. Yeah, the tent scene's the beginning of episode 9, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So, when not only did Gunn make a joke about how, like, P woke up because Nong was getting poked about them having sex and waking Black up, he also made some sort of joke. Either he did or, like, Jenny did, I'm not sure, but the two of them like giggled like 5-year-olds about this part of the episode where Yoke had his head down there. Like, I can't remember whether it was Gunn who said something or whether it was P. Jenny, but something was definitely like they definitely made fun of it. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, but I mean the character. The character did not say anything. That's what I meant.
You said Yoke. Sorry, not first. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, my brain's a little slow. It's still on vacation mode. At least for a couple more days. Anyway, so it was funny too because what I really like is that he's like, "Are they gone?" and Dan is still holding his head down. He's like, "Yeah," and doesn't take his hand away straight away. Like, the whole thing just lends itself to, like, making fun or whatever of it. So, but yeah, I'm surprised also there was no, you're correct, it's Yoke. There should have been some sort of innuendo that happened. But maybe because he was so freaked out about being followed in the first place.
Honestly, I feel like that wouldn't stop him. That would make him even more over the top. Yokish.
Maybe he was off his game that day. But yeah, I mean...
Well, he picked up a bit later because they go to his home and he presents Dan to his mother. And Dan is like, I'm not his friend, I'm his P. And it's like, don't you friend zone me, I guess. Yeah.
But also, like, family kind of, I guess, like, putting their places in their relationship into play. In that, yeah. That he, as you said, like, you can't friend, like, we're not just friends. I'm just repeating what you're saying.
Yeah, and he figured out that they were the ones who trespassed Tawi's property repeatedly. So he wants in.
Well, but before even any of that happens, like, even before they go back to Yoke's house, when they're in the car and he's like, what did you guys do? I'm like, well, Sean totally, like, went and, basically told Tawi about everything. Drew a big target on all of their backs.
Yeah, and he said something like, now, do you believe me now Do you believe that you're being followed? It's like he told them, and how does he know? Is it because he's stalking them and he sees other people stalking them?
Yeah.
Do those people see him stalking them?
It's like, I feel like there's some like creepy song from the 80s about like watching people watching you or something, like this, the ultimate stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and of course, as you said, they have this whole scene where he's all like, "Let me help you," and I'm like, I remember watching the scene originally, being like, "Oh, Dan, no."
But you know what I find interesting when York says, "Promise me that if I take you to the destination, you won't leave me." And I like, it's interesting that he decided to say this. Does he know that Dan has a?
I don't. Well, he knows that Dan has issues. I don't know that he necessarily knows exactly what they are, but I remember when I first saw this scene, it was really funny. This is the sort of stuff that I was worried about talking about when we first started doing the podcast. For any like diehard Dan Graham Yoke listeners that we might have, not Graham, diehard Dan Yoke listeners, because I was very like I actually hated this scene the first time I saw it. And it was such a big scene for like people who were really into, like, so many people when this was airing seemed to be into the Dan Yoke thing more than the Shaun White thing. Like they were like, "Oh, I don't get it." Like suddenly they're in love with each other. It's like, whereas I feel like you saw that growth. Whereas like with Dan and Yoke, it's more like Yoke was like very very like a tsunami. Like Dan didn't really have a choice. It didn't have the same, while they had emotional depth in like what they were sharing with each other, I didn't see that with like between them. Do you know what I mean? Like this is kind of the first time you see that, but at this point as the viewer, we already know that Dan already has like an interest in what's happening here. Like it's not so like the reason why I had a problem with this scene is it's like Yoke is under this misunderstanding that Dan is doing this because he cares about him.
Yeah, because it feels like I don't know if that's true, because the way he expresses himself here feels like he's saying, if you want to be involved in this, like, you get me as well and you cannot leave me, like I am part of the deal. And it's like, and it feels like Dan accepts this, and then York somehow, although he is surprised when he discovers that
he finds out,
that he's basically.
I feel like this is the way he words it, like the way Yoke kind of presents it to him, is more about the fact that Dan is a cop and that he's been a passive participant in like his outrage or whatever at the man, let's say, at whatever society. And so like he's like, you can't back out because it won't just be backing out of this, it'll be backing away from me as well. Like that's how I interpreted it anyway. But my major issues are, like, as I said, I felt like Dan, not Dan,
but
Dan, I feel like because like he doesn't know anything else other than like this guy has a tortured past and seems to be interested in him. You know what I mean? And he does seem really like concerned, but he multiple times when he's expressing this concern, it's not like he doesn't just say like, I'm worried about you or you need to be careful. He says you and your friends.
Exactly. He's interested in the deal. He's interested in the whole process, in the idea.
Yeah.
Like he's not that interested in York. It gets like that towards the end. I mean, he finds value in York being present in his life, but this was not. He likes him, but he is. Yeah, it's not about him at all.
Yeah, the interest here, and that's why I didn't really like it. Like everyone, when they were talking about it on the timeline and on like wherever social media and stuff, people were talking about like, oh, how much more romantic it was and like how like passionate it was and all this, and I was like, I was creeped by the whole thing. Not creeped, but like, because as I said, like Yoke doesn't know, and I'm not saying Dan doesn't care about him here or anything like that. Like, I do think he did, but like that's not his motivation for being involved. Like, he and it's not even, and the really like kind of twisted part to it is like he's in his mind, he's got it as a like he's doing this because he wants to help protect, like, I'm using air quotations, like the group, meaning like Sean. But it's not even really about Sean either. It's about his own guilt. So it's kind of like selfish. That's why he doesn't, when like push comes to shove, he doesn't follow through, because he wasn't in it for the right reason. Like, he was selfish in it, if that makes any sense. So like, it sounds like I'm like totally bashing his character here, but I'm not. Like, the motivation behind what he does is wrong, and I know like some people may disagree with me, but clearly I'm not. I feel like I'm not wrong, because like at the end of the show, Yoke is like, what the fuck, man? Like, Yoke comes to the place where he's like, this is what you did was like wrong. This needs to be for the right reasons, otherwise like go away, kind of thing. Like, he comes to that conclusion himself, but he doesn't have all the information in this moment. And so
I don't know if I
do
agree with this, actually, because the fact that he backs out when he is threatened, I don't know if he does that because it's because he's scared. It's not because he is in there for the wrong reason.
No, but like, he's scared, and he only thinks about himself and his own thing. Like, he thinks about his parents. Like, and I'm not saying that that's wrong. Like, I get that. Like, of course, but he doesn't think, like, he's not.
Well, not only his parents, he's still being naive, believing that the system can save him, because he's told that if you betray them, we will not kill them, and he believes that. He still believes in the system.
Yeah, he's very naive in that, and I feel like he doesn't. It's but to a certain extent, it's still about like him, his insecurity, as you said, his beliefs, his misunderstanding, his like all the motivations are his own. Like, they're not. There's no selfless motivations happening here.
I don't know. I don't really agree with this, and I think we should leave this discussion for a bit later, because it's hard for me to try to disconnect the self with how are you supposed to be altruistic, like what it means in the end.
Moment, like this what he is initially offering here in this moment.
I think here,
into something else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about right now. Like,
I don't know. I think it's more altruistic here what he's doing, because he thinks he's doing it for a cause, and it would be more selfish if he did it just for Yoke. And he's not doing it for Yoke.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think maybe like a little bit. Like, if you wanted to break down percentage, like, he does care about what happens.
Well, yeah, like, I'm not saying he doesn't care, but if you like, how is altruistic and selfish defined? Like, if he'd be doing it for Yoke, it would be altruistic. Because right now he's doing it because he believes in their cause, because he believes they're doing something that's important, and that he can. I think he attaches himself to them because he thinks they're doing something that is good and can make people's lives better. He is prompted by his guilt and wanting to reach some kind of a redemption moment, but does it make him selfish? Does it make it wrong if in the end what he's trying to do is something good? I think it's hard to define this as something selfish or something altruistic. This is what I'm trying to say.
I don't necessarily think that he believes in their cause, though. Even that, he kind of tells like Yoke off for what they're doing. Even I feel like once again he takes the moral high ground of saying, like, I don't condone what you're doing. He's more concerned about their safety, and to me, I feel like that's tied into his guilt about not being able to protect Sean and Sean's father and all that. So to me, that's what I'm talking about, it being selfishly motivated in this moment. I think it's like, if you were to split it in percentages, I feel like it's, probably say 15% about Dan, like another maybe 20% 25% about Sean, but the rest of it's all buried in his guilt. Like, he's using Sean in his mind as an excuse to, this is why he wants to do it, and the fact that Dan is also offering him the option, or like giving him access, so to speak. But then I do think it shifts. Like, I think it shifts momentarily. Like, even in this moment, like, now that I've had distance from it and everything, I'm like, once again, when I first started talking about this, I was talking about how I felt when I first watched this scene, and that was because, like, back then, that, you know, when I first saw this, I hadn't seen anything after this. I didn't even know, like, where it was going to go, and that what his follow through or not follow through was going to be. But like, in this scene, I do feel like it shifts a bit, because, like, and I feel like in his defense, like, Yoke is, like, as I said, like, he's a tsunami. Like, he just kind of, like, at a certain point, like, if, like, Dan obviously likes him, you know what I mean? In some way, they have this kindred, like, thing with the art and, like, the understanding of what, you know, that means to them, and how they can, you know, express and all the rest of it. They have that kind of respect for each other and that rapport. He obviously thinks he's a bit cute. I mean, Yoke is sassy and, like, fun, and, like, is completely different, obviously, to, like, how he normally just goes about his life. Like, he pulls him out of his kind of, like, doldrums. But, like, you know, since, like, kind of what, the first time they meet, like, Dan's like, no, 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 go away, go away, go away. And he's so persistent. Like, he's so persistent, and even so much in this episode, you know, like, in this moment, where he gets, like, right up really close in his personal space, and he, like, makes kind of Dan acknowledge that, like, as you said, like, he is in this as well. Like, this is, you know, he is a part of this. It's not just, like, a cause or, like, whatever. And I see that differently now. Like, whereas previously I didn't even notice that. Like, I was kind of I just felt bad for him.
I think York represents the group for him, because he is the one that he interacts with most, and he is, like, the passion, the confidence that he lacks, the fire, the motivation to do something. But he's still right. Like, it's complicated. He lacks that because he doesn't know what is the correct way to act. Like, what is the right way to do things? Because obviously the system is not morally 100% correct. Like, the things that this group is doing is not 100% morally correct. Like, he has been already disillusioned by the system, so he gets infected by their fire, and he's like, maybe this is the correct way. But, you know, he knows, and we know, and everyone knows that there's no correct answer. And in the end, I think his reaction to everything is quite human.
Oh yeah, look, I mean, it's understandable. If you look at him on a character base from his standpoint, if we start, like, his story, like, separate of everyone else's, he was a cop. He wanted to be a cop. He believed in the law and doing the right thing, and then this thing happened to him that made him question not only, like, what he himself had done, like, even though it was within the law or whatever, like, he felt like it was wrong, like, morally and whatever, and yet was told it was okay, and all the rest of it. He clearly can see the corruption that's happening around this case and everything, which upset him, which bothered him. He got to see the effect on the victim firsthand when Sean goes there to the police station and he sees him. And so he has all of this stuff that's completely separate from what everything else is going on with the others before we even meet him. So he has that, like, conflict inside him where he truly believes in the law, but the law, as you said, like, society, like, the society and the system, it doesn't uphold the law that he believes in. And so he's in this place where it's like he can only, like, and he says this to Yoke, I think, like, I think it was, like, last episode or something, maybe, or maybe it was earlier in this episode, I think it was last episode, where he says to him about how like he can only do what he can do kind of thing within the system, which is like in that sort of like that's where he is, you know. And it's like why he's like doesn't want them to get hurt, but he does keep sort of saying like I don't condone what you're doing, because what they're doing essentially is breaking the law, and he's not about that. He still believes in the law, even though like the law, like it's not a system that works in this situation. And so that all those things, besides like any guilt he's having and like whatever else happens, like that would be a huge like moral kind of like burden for him to carry, based on, you know what I mean, really believing something and then having a situation where you feel like you've done the wrong thing, but like you haven't, but you can see that the system is failing. And then also having like wanting to, you know, change things. And you can see, as you said, like Yoke and them having this passion, doing stuff. Clearly they're aggravating the system, like things that like it's sorry, not aggravating, agitating the system, like clearly, like it's whether it's working as such, that's like, you know, who can say. But like they're pissing off Tawi, like that's evident, like he can see that like shit's happening, things are moving. You know, it's getting a reaction, like there's a cause and there's a reaction here. And so he can see that that's happening. And he, you know, whether or not, like, throw his guilt aside from like what happened with Sean's dad, he doesn't want them to be hurt. He wants to like do what he can within the confines of his role. But like you can't do that. Like you're in this sort of situation, you either have to be in or you're not. Like, because it doesn't, he can't straddle the line. Like he's either, you know, like he tries to say here about like how he doesn't condone what they're doing. And he says, you know, like, but I'll help try and protect you. But then, of course, later on, when he tries to do that using the system and doing the right thing, once again, that fails you. So, like, he keeps getting proven that it's not a thing that works, and yet he still believes in it. So it's like, is that a character flaw, as you said, or is that just something really human? Because that's like a core of his, you know, belief system.
Yeah. Interesting. Like, it seems like not much is happening, but in reality there's so much to unload in such like a scene where that ends with York eating his face. And
I know, right? As I said, he's a tsunami. Like, how do you avoid that? Like, how can you not, like, you know, I mean, if you liked him even a little bit, like, this is the other thing as well, because he's older too. Like, he was probably, besides like all these other issues he's got with getting involved in what's going on here, you'd you know, there's other things like, you know, maybe like he's like, you know, oh, I'm older, I shouldn't take advantage, I shouldn't like whatever, or any of these things. And yet you've got Yoke here being like super flirty and sassy and like, you know, practically climbing in his lap, being like, yeah, let's just do this.
Yep.
The boy really is just like, if he even liked him a little bit, he's like, you know, how much self-control does a man have?
And then we switch to uni and we see Notch handing over notes, I guess, for Black, because Black is missing classes. And
I have to say, this scene, I would much rather have just like watched her like just interact with people, or just like just stand there, than like this actual scene that we get. I wish we had more of her character in this show, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, Graham just like frustrated me. So this is so funny. This whole chunk of this episode, I was like, and as I said, when I first watched this, I was like,
yeah, because he's so jealous and he's lashing out, and it's like, why do you care about him? And it's like, and telling her about his conversation, and telling her that you're like, Black doesn't love you, and I'm like, what a fucking dick move. Who asked you? Who asked you?
It's very manipulative, and it's also like, he's very like, I actually really like her, and it's funny because, as I said, when I first saw this scene, I was just like, oh, I do not care. And I was like frustrated with both of them, honestly. But watching it this time, I kind of wanted to applaud her. I really like what she said to him. I love that she told him off, because it is none of his business, you know?
And yes, and him butting in and asking for Black to take her back makes her, you know, look like an object.
Yeah.
You think you can just talk instead of her? Over her?
It's funny because, Yeah, it's funny because like White pretty much says the exact same thing to him, like, who are you to speak for her, or whatever he says. Like, that's not what he says, but like that's the gist of it.
But it's still
And,
that he
you know,
still
like,
doesn't understand it. Like if he dares to tell her about it, he did not get it. He did not get why it was wrong.
No, and because once again, his character is doing something from a selfish motivation, and that is that he likes her. You know, and he tries to play it off by saying, "Oh, I didn't want him to misunderstand us, so he would take you back." And it's like, but dude, that's not what you want. Like, honestly, like, why are you trying to now pedal from like your previous position? If you
because he
truly
feels
cared about
guilty.
That's right. But if if he truly cared about his friendship with Black, or her like being able to get back together with him or whatever, or her feelings, he wouldn't have kissed her when they were drunk.
They're so real though, you know? Like they feel like real people would act like this.
Oh yeah, and then of course, and I mean, I'm being super judgmental by saying like he wouldn't do that. I mean, they had been drinking, so like you have that whole like impaired judgment thing happening. But it's just like I just find him so frustrating as a character. And I feel bad. I love Mond. I actually feel like Mond did such a good job with Cram, because like literally every time I see him I like bristle. I'm like, ah, every time I see him. And that to me is because he's played him so well.
You know, I feel like this is the worst moment.
Yeah.
With him
like, Graham,
in the series.
Why are you like this? Oh, he definitely has moments like that redeem him, but I kind of just like, I don't know, I wanted to shake him. I love the scene with him and White in his room, because like they were just like, he's so frustrated with White, you know, when he's trying to explain stuff, and White's like, yeah, that's great, can you leave now so I can do a like deep dive search into your personal space. But yeah, that scene, I loved that scene actually. I thought it was very clever and very well done. But yeah, this one frustrated the hell out of me the first time I saw it. But when I watched it today, I did a slow clap applaud for her.
Yeah, she was really good here.
I was like, you go girl. But
and then we switched to White and Sean, and we had that moment with the Oisha drink, and I think it was funny because Sean feels that he's losing ground here in this relationship. So to me, I'd like the way I saw it, like he's fighting for his life to have, you know, a bit of to keep a bit of dominance. I don't know, like it's funny. It's me taking things to extremes, but you know, he's going to become soft.
I completely agree with you, because like he's kind of just like he's when they first like meet and he comes out and sort of, you know, says something to White, he's just being his normal self. Like it's not like, it's just like who he normally is, like with Black. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just normal. But then White does the whole like sweet, like, you know, coaxing thing to try and get his own way. And I feel like Sean's ultimate inner reaction was like, oh my god, like yes please. And like he was like, oh no. And so then the spat came out, and like that was his reaction, because he was like, oh, like you said, like I cannot give in to this battle, because otherwise I'll just be following him around on my hands and knees. And it's like, well, yeah, that's gonna happen anyway.
Yeah.
Just get used to it. But it's so funny. Like he's just, yeah. I love the way, I love like Gunn doing White, and he's just like, oh, you know, it's so whatever, and he's just, you can see he's like, oh hell no. And it's not because he doesn't like it, it's because he really likes it.
Yeah, and then we had that whole thing with watch your back.
Yeah. Out of the two of us, who should watch their back? I'm like, please, Sean, please. I do have a question though. Like, I'm curious to see if you have a theory about this. So, like, I just assume that, like, in the scene that we have with Yoke, where he's walking and he realizes he's being followed, that, like, he's been, like, maybe been at university, or, like, he's got his, like, school bag thing that he wears all the time. And so like maybe they followed him from the school or whatever, and then but then you have the guys following Sean and White from like the warehouse where they've been hanging out, and it's like, how did they know they were there?
Listen, it's a bit frustrating for me because I really have notes about this. Because, like, if they're really being followed in the middle of nowhere, it means that they, the people who are stalking them know everything about them, right? It means they know where they live. It means they know where they hang out and, like, gather together, right? So them being like, oh, let's try to get away from them, let's go into the garage. Like, do you think they do not know about your garage? And then also, if you think that you're being followed, do you want to lead them to the place where you all
secret hideout?
Exactly. And it's like, it's a bit weird for me. I don't know, because if I was the person who wanted to get this, guys, I would pick them one by one. I would not wait for them to be in the garage where they might be armed, where they know the place and blah blah. I'd find them like, oh, look at him walking alone on the street. Let's get him. Got one, next one. So it's I don't know. Maybe they did not have a lot of time to decide how to make this thing a bit more realistic and believable.
In regards to the plot, yeah. Because I mean, the thing is you could like suspend your disbelief for a moment and go, oh, maybe, as I said, like maybe Yoke had been followed from the university, because that's the main point of contact that Tawi's had with them. Like, he knows they go to the university. The other thing is you could say, oh, well, maybe they followed Sean and Nemo there when they went there initially.
Maybe they're watching them to see who else they're interacting with. Who else is a person of interest for them.
Yeah,
but the fact that... Yeah.
That was my thing, because like if we go based on like Sean being the like red flag that happens, like that like, gave himself away or whatever. So like in that lecture, he wasn't even sitting with the others. Like, he was on his own, and they don't really interact at the university or anything. So like, how did he know that Yoke was involved? How did he know that, like, unless they did see them on the cameras? Like, I don't know, because don't forget, Sean didn't delete anything.
Well, it means that they already know about the garage, they know about everything, and they're just watching them. But still, the fact that they're attacked at the garage, it does not make sense for me. Why would you have that confrontation? Why is that needed? You can just get them one by one when they're vulnerable.
Well, I mean, maybe they weren't assuming maybe like Tawi and his men that weren't assuming that they would be armed, because they weren't armed when they went to the factory. Like even what they've done, like, even though like they did like serious property damage and that with the fire and all the rest of it, like, nothing they've done has shown like weapons.
Yes, Zoe, but divide et impera, no? How is that translated to English? There is a like divide and conquer, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I just feel like that they may have just assumed that it might have been easier to get them all in one location.
Well, it doesn't really work for me, but
Especially
it is what it is.
Running away from them.
Yeah.
So I do love that Sean and White go there thinking that that's the right decision.
So they get there, and then we had the lovey-dovey moment, and
I love this scene. It's really cute.
It is really cute. And do we have a moment when it's made clear that they're being watched while in the garage as well?
Yeah, that's at the very end of the scene.
And it's like, who is it? Like, who is it?
Because they're being so cute. Oh, look, like, it wasn't obvious that it was going to. So this was really funny too, because you weren't watching it like in real time. So I remember this. I was watching this in real time.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was like, I think like a clip got released by accident or something where you actually saw Black looking, or like one of the, you know how they would pre-release photos before the episodes? One of the photos actually showed Black was the one looking through the top, like through the wind, like watching them.
I don't know. I think it might be one of the trailers or in the intro. I don't know. There's a scene somewhere.
Yeah. I think they released it, and I don't think they necessarily meant to do it because it was really funny. Because people were like, "Oh, now you've told us who it was," and I remember being like, "Who did you think it was?" Like, of course it's Black, because he had to come. He had to get.
He just woke up. Come on,
he
woke up.
Yeah, like we knew he was awake, so it had to be him. Like it had to be the catalyst for him, like becoming part of the story again. Especially, and of course, like I feel like we were meant to be like, oh, Black saw them, given that what we know of his personality and Sean and his previous relationship and everything. Like we were meant to be freaked out, about the whole thing. And of course, I totally was at this point, because remember, don't forget, up until like the whole first kiss confrontation in the tent thing and all that, I still thought, you know how I called the tent scene a confrontation? You know what I mean. Their love making. The whole thing, the whole time I was clinging to this, like, Sean knows, Sean has an idea, and then it becomes very clear that Sean has absolutely no idea, and I was like, oh no, Black has seen them and it's going to end badly.
Yeah. So let's go watch part 4. Meet Black.
Yes. Oh yes. Okay, let's go do that. Let's go watch this last bit.
Part 4. I don't have a lot of notes.
I have actually quite a few. It's funny. I don't know whether I'll like mention everything, but like I rambled a bit in my notes. One of the things I love about Pinucci and about the writing and that in this show is we talked about it earlier in this episode for the podcast, is that at least I'm pretty sure we did, it was years ago, so I feel confident we talked about it. Is that I love the way, like, consistently right up till the end of the episode, they are so loved up. Like, they are so soft with one another. Like, they're in this, like, bubble of, like, we're in love, we've just, spent the most amazing night together. Like, they are just, like, they don't, even, like, in the midst of being chased by, like, who knows what, they're, like, still in this bubble of, like,
intimacy.
Happy. Yeah, intimacy, happy vibes, like, just softness. And I absolutely love it. I really do. And also I always chuckle over it that Black is kind of saved by his mum's call. And of course, White has this realization that, oh, Black's awake. Whoops. Better go and like have a chat with him before he starts confusing people. Guess what? You should get right on that.
Mom calls to give him a bit of exposition. Black ran away from the hospital, and she used to beg for them to become mother and son again, and she's not going to do that again. Don't worry.
I feel like I can't buy that from her character. Like, her character seems so, like, not the type to do that. Like, I wonder what her version of begging and pleading looks like, because,
well,
we don't get shown any aspect of that.
Yeah, it is weird because it feels like when they meet, it feels like she's the one who gave up. But when she tells this line, it feels like they're trying to tell us that Black is the one who cut her off. So it is a bit confusing.
But I feel like that's her perception. Like, I feel like that's, like when you think you're a good person, but you're really not. Like, I was talking to my mom about somebody that I know, and I was talking about, like, how evil this person I swear this person is evil. Like,
were you talking about me because I wanted your mom to spoil Meet You at the Blossom to you? It was me, wasn't it?
It wasn't you. But, like, now that you mention it, But I was just saying, like, but like, I feel like if you told this person that like everybody thinks that they're super evil and that they're a horrible person, they would be surprised.
I think that I feel everyone would be no one thinks about themselves as evil. Everyone justifies what they do.
Yeah, probably, you're right. And so I feel like this is a little bit of her being like, that's what I'm saying, that's what I mean by like, I'd love to see her like version of begging and trying to like get the relationship back to normal. Because I feel like, I don't know, I mean, I feel like I am definitely biased towards her anyway, because I don't understand her as a mother. First off, I don't understand how you could just like push one of your kids away, and separate twins.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's so traumatic. And even if you thought you were doing it for their best interest, like, why would you cut them off? Like, you like, even if you put distance between them, and the distance, like the actual physical distance, solved the problem, you could still have a relationship with that other child. Like, they could have, sent the kids between them, like, so like Black could have gone to his father like during vacations, and White could have gone to the mother, like, but they completely cut like the other child out of their life. And to me, I don't understand that like at all. Like, it seems such a unmotherly thing to do. Like, she doesn't seem motivated by love anyway. She seems motivated by like opinion, like perception,
Yeah.
and things like that. But yeah, it's just
so then we see Namo is there.
Oh, before that though, like, Sean is, we were just talking before about like how down Sean is, and how he's trying to be like, I'm the boss, blah 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 blah. Yeah, and in this scene, like, after White sort of like says, I really need to leave, and Sean's like, okay, but like, hug me first. And like, he's just, like, he's, and like White's like, I have to go, and he's all over him. Like, he's just so like, if there was a cling factor, like, of, like you could measure it or something, he would be very, very high on the cling factor. I mean, White doesn't care. Like, White's totally into it. But like, I'm like, Sean, you've lost all, like, not dignity, but like, you really like, you kind of just wasted your efforts, because now you're just like, oh, my baby. And even to the point, like, at the end of like the previous clip, like the end of 3 or 4, where like they're kissing, and White is like kind of like coaxing him, and like trying to make him not be worried and stuff like that, and he's all like, kissing him, and do you feel better, and like, and Sean is like being a big baby, because he's just like, I can get more kisses if I'm more like, no, I'm not better. It's just like, what is happening right now? It's like, oh, Sean. Like, I love it so much, but I'm just like, Sean. I feel like we talk about drinking games and stuff, like, when we watch stuff and that. I feel like people could listen to this podcast and just like have a drink every time I've been like, oh, Sean, or like said his name a bunch of times, because I feel like I've done it a lot. And I feel like I haven't finished. There's probably going to be more Sean coming, but
yeah, so Namo is there.
They walk out, and Namo's there,
and it's awkward. And she's a bit confrontational in the beginning, so much so that White is like, okay, then gonna leave you to it. Bye.
It's funny because, like, obviously White already, like, he's already distracted and preoccupied, because he's like, I have to get to my brother. So there's that aspect already, and he's just like, yeah, awkward. All right, like, I'm not here. Like, see you later. What I love though about this is, I love the way that Sean doesn't really focus on her until White's gone. Like, he watches him the whole time until he leaves, and then he like focuses on her. Like, he doesn't give her his attention.
So much so that they reuse the same shot 2 times, where Sean is watching White leave. We see a shot of where he is watching, and we switch to something else, and when it's that shot again. Have you noticed that? No?
Yeah, no, I did. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying yes.
I feel it's interesting the way they represent her here. It's like she starts stalking in the beginning you think she's going to be to demand things, you know.
Yeah.
But she asks him, is there more than I can see? And he says yes, and she's like, okay. And she says feelings change all the time. Besides, you never asked me to be a girlfriend, right? And it's like, are you trying to tell us that there were feelings, or that she thought there were feelings involved, or that he told her, or
thought there were feelings involved? Do you know what I mean? Because there's not one instance that where we're shown him having anything like any feelings or consideration towards her other than a friend. You know, like he hasn't opened up to her. He hasn't like whatever. Yeah, they slept in the same bed and everything together, but like friends do that. I mean, I did that with guy friends like in high school even and stuff, where it was completely platonic. It was like not about that. There was usually like more than one of us in the bed, but like there was, you know, like it doesn't have to be like that. And I feel like he never saw her in that way. But I do feel like the reason why he looks like upset when she leaves is because he knew that she liked him and he should have put a stop to it, and he didn't.
Kept her on a hook.
I don't know if he sort of kept her on a hook, because that makes it sound like he was like keeping her there for an option, and I don't think he saw her that way. I think he just like needed her friendship, and so like, or like he valued her.
I don't know, but if he valued, why would you think he had feelings for her?
Sorry?
But she did think he had feelings for her. What made
but girls
think
when
that?
they like boys and then the guys are kind to them, often mistake it for like feelings, and it's just not
only girls, but I don't know.
No, like people often like mistake kindness or like friendship for more than what it actually is.
But if he knew that she mistook his kindness or his friendship for something else, it kind of means that he kept her on a hook.
Yeah, I suppose, but like I feel to me that's like maybe it's a language thing, because to me like that usually means like when it's used, at least in Australia, like if I was to say, oh, he kept her on the hook or whatever, it usually means like a guy who's kept a girl on rotation for like sex or whatever, because like he don't really like her, but like in case like no one else is around, then he wants to like hook up. And I don't think that's the relationship that they have. Like,
yeah, maybe that's a language thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's maybe why I objected to the wording, but I feel like for him it was kind of selfish, and I think he knows it's selfish, like, because, but like if you look at it from his perspective, he had no one for a really long time, and then like even though he had this like mission and the group and everything, he didn't have any friends or anything really except for her. Like at least that's the way the show has portrayed it. You know, since like whatever happened with his dad and like all his friends betrayed him and left him and like or whatever, he's basically got the group who he's not really friends with and her. So like even if he worked out that she liked him, like realistically he probably should have addressed it, especially because like if let's like make an assumption that he's gay, and we don't know whether that's the case or not, but let's just like for argument's sake make an assumption that he's gay, and he knew he was never going to have any feelings for her. Maybe he let it go because it was more it's easier and it's less likely to cause problems if he doesn't address it, because even if he knows she likes him, she hasn't brought it up, so like why rock the boat, maybe, or something like that. Maybe that was his thought process, or like he needed her to be his friend, I feel like. But she wasn't his confidant, or like, you know, he used her as a sounding board and stuff for sure. Like he went to her when he was like conflicted or had like you know, seeks out like what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, Morella, come to me.
I don't know.
Not approval, but kind of, you know, like after they have the fire thing and that, and like White kind of shakes his like ideals about like what they're doing, and she sort of says to him then, doesn't she, like, you want me to say that these people are like this way or whatever. So it's like you know, like that is part of like their relationship, I feel like. Whereas I think she saw it differently. I think she saw that like they had this potential maybe
Potential.
because she
Yes,
had feelings.
potential. I agree. Potential. This is why the line feelings change all the time kind of makes me feel weird, like it's not supposed to be there, that like it doesn't fit the situation. I understand.
No,
It kind of feels like they wanted to include here because it's, you know, it is a universal truth, and this
yeah.
is how maybe the writers want to let people know that this is the correct way to react to someone changing their feelings about you or something, because, you know, feelings
Yeah.
change all the time. Be
Yeah.
civil about it, but it doesn't really fit here.
No, like they're trying to give a message, but yeah, it doesn't, because realistically the way this, like, I could understand if they had shown us like a scene or two of them like holding hands or like kissing or like, or not even that sort of intimacy, but just even something more than just friendship. Like,
Yeah,
we didn't
'cause
see anything more than just friendship.
even later when he comes to her after White dumps him, she says, "You know how I feel about you and you still came here." So she's aware of that it was only her, and it was her hoping and you know, looking at it as like at a potential thing. It's not like she really believed he was in love with her.
That's right, and he seeks her out because she's like his friend, you know.
Yeah,
in
so
his mind,
feelings change
in that respect.
Feelings change all the time. This line
doesn't fit. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I think it confused a lot of people, because I know there were lots of people like going, oh, so does that mean that they were, it's a thing? And I feel like even if you're like talking about his character being pan or bisexual or whatever, there was still no indications of that. Like, the only thing is like them sharing a bed, but that means nothing. Like, then that means that like you could say the same thing, you know, about him sharing a bed with any guy as well, because like, if, you know, like he likes guys too, like, but that's not how it works. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could share a bed with someone or sleep with someone without like it meaning anything other than like your companionship or like whatever.
And I don't know why.
I mean, doesn't fit.
Maybe it's because of this line, maybe it confused me, or maybe it's something else, but then when we switch to her, you know, crying, I don't really feel anything.
No, because I'm the same. It's funny that you say that, because I'm like, what did I write? I'm like, it's so dramatic to me, because this feelings that she has where she's like, I love him. I'm like, no, you don't, because she doesn't really know him. You know, like, she doesn't, like, he never really let her all the way in.
I mean, she can have her feelings and, you know, feel the loss and like, believe that this is some kind of like, if this is a form of love, right? And she is hurt.
Yeah.
But still, it's something there. It's not that I don't believe, but it's just something like something doesn't fit, and it just makes it hard for me to connect to her, to this character, because of this.
I feel like they showed us this scene as well. Like, this is the problem, I think, unfortunately, because like, this is a drama that, like, it was so well written and so well directed and so well acted and everything, that if they had just given them a little bit more time, there are certain aspects that they could have played with a little bit more to like to show and develop things like a way. And that's, it's not a criticism of the show at all. It's like, because it works the way it is and it's brilliant the way it is. But like, if GMM had just given them a little bit more funding, a little bit more time, a little bit, you know, like, it could have just bloomed into something even more phenomenal.
Because at the beginning, you can feel like it's a different quality. They had so much more time to think about the first episodes, and then towards the end, it feels a bit like diluted, let's say.
I feel like they just, there's so much that Pinucci wanted to say, and like so little time, so you had to pick. Because like, we know that there were other things, like there was meant to be a scene, I think, where like White goes back to the house and has like a thing with his father and that, and gets clothes and, you know, whatever else, and like that got cut because they just couldn't, it just like, it was not a necessary function of the story. And I feel like this scene here isn't, like, at face value, it's not a necessary function to the story, because it's like, we didn't really see her affection towards him either. Like, she didn't really treat him as someone she had feelings for, or like, they both treat each other as friends pretty much right up until this bit. where
Mm-hmm.
she like shows that she has these feelings. And I feel like it's what I liked about the way this scene is played, as you said, is the way she sort of says that. And I feel like you're right, they're trying to say to us like, this is how you should behave in this situation. And I feel like they did a really good job of making him like not look like he's feeling bad, but you know what I mean, like he looks regretful,
Face
because
his
he doesn't want
decision,
her to
face
be,
the consequences
yeah,
of his decisions.
yeah, and he doesn't like, he like, I feel like he knew that she liked him, and so
Mm-hmm.
without like sort of saying, you know, because at any point once he realized that he liked let's say black, because he thinks it's black, that he liked black, and he was like all in sort of thing, he did have an opportunity to like tell her, you know, I like somebody.
Yeah, and same goes for the next scene, which feels a bit like an abandoned storyline. I mean, the scene is gorgeous. It feels like it's something that should be impactful, but like there should be more, something else. Like, you know what I mean? Like the dance with Eugene, the way she dances, and then yeah.
Before we get on to that, I just wanted to say something about what you were. The reason why I think they put in the scene with her crying and her being like, I love him and all that, is I feel like to make it more obvious later on, when he goes to her later on, when they seek her out at the rally and things like that at the end, and that this is, once again, this is how you behave, this is how you, like, she can't blame him for like not feeling the same as her, and he shouldn't have to be responsible for her feelings for him. You know, I'm talking about like I mentioned, you know, like he could have said to her, you know, or you know, like he feels this like kind of remorse or whatever because she's hurting, and he did not mean to hurt her in that way, you know. But like, it's not really his responsibility to like be responsible for how she feels about him. You know what I mean? And so she owns her own feelings, which is really, really positive. Like the way Pinucci and everyone has like represented the women in this show is like, these are not weak characters. These are strong women. You know, like they're not anyone's doormats or whatever. Like they are, and but they're not being used as like plot or character arc plots or whatever to try and like, you know, cause jealousy or drama or like whatever. It's purely and simply like it like there are lessons. I think they're being used as lessons, and yeah, it's part of the drama, but it's also like they're not just. It's so common for, and especially in the BL industry, to use like girls and women as like jealous shrews who are just out to like destroy the main couple, and it's like not that like that at all. You know what I mean? Like she's she doesn't come across that way. Like she restrains herself, which is, as you said, how you should behave in this sort of situation. I do have to say just quickly the bit as well where she says to Sean about you were with him all day. I like had to restrain myself because I'm like, yeah, and all night, and then I'm like,
all
day,
I
didn't restrain myself because I totally just did it then on the podcast. But like when I'm watching it, I was like had to restrain myself. I like really wanted to say to my TV like, yeah, and all night, and make like, you know, like innuendo, like boom chicka wow wow kind of noises. But yeah, so okay, moving along.
Yes, and
you're talking about
the scene where Namo is crying transforms.
Sorry, I'm doing it again. There was one more thing that I just wanted to mention. I love the scene as well where she walks away and it's shot through the car. I always assumed that's meant to be like black hiding, watching her leave, but like I just liked that scene, like that view of it. But anyway, okay, now I'm gonna be quiet and let you talk about the dance.
It adds to the feeling of them being watched all the time now.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, and like from the pain of one woman to the pain of another woman, but you know how she spaces out, she dances and she has this red paint on herself and she spaces out and there's this sound like ears ringing, and it feels like she's remembering some traumatic event, like something, there's something there. Like, and it cannot be about Black, especially the way it goes from Namo crying to her. I feel like it's something different. And
yeah, like I remember watching this, and like when she starts freaking out by seeing the red on her, like to me, I thought, oh, she's being triggered, and I'm thinking,
like it's something about blood, something.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, she's got a dark backstory. I'm like, oh, she's the villain. I was so excited, and then it just like fizzled out to nothing.
Yeah, because it feels like it's supposed to go somewhere. Like you're supposed to find out something interesting, to make her to understand her better, to make her make it make sense why, for example, she is with someone like Black.
Yeah.
But then they kind of abandon it.
Yeah, like it's one of those things. I was really surprised about it. It was it really did look like she was triggered.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, oh, look, it's Graham, and he's stalking Eugene. Like, everybody's stalking everybody in this episode. It's just a whole lot of stalking.
Yep.
But yeah, I really was convinced that scene meant something else, like, for sure. And because even the girls she's dancing with and who are painting her are like, oh my God, are you okay?
Exactly.
Completely, yeah. So I wonder if maybe there was something meant to happen there, like there was going to be a conversation, or maybe there was like something we would find out, and maybe it wasn't central to the main story. Like it was maybe just character, like tied to her character. And when they were like running out of time for stuff, they were like, this is not that important to the main story. We can cut this,
need to move on.
And it's a shame because I feel like it had this, like, I was
potential.
So
it is. Yes. And film is great. I wish
giving them a couple more episodes.
I'm happy they had her in Not Me, because I love her as an actress. She's really interesting. I think it would have been good if they included more of her.
Yeah, it's a shame. Like, all of the women in this show, as I said, were like good, strong characters. They were all interesting. They we got a little bit as well from about Nemo, about like her motivations for her art and stuff like that, but we don't really have any backstory from her as well. So I mean, except for her being Sean's friend and having feelings for him, we don't know anything about her. Like, she's not really given any, she's clearly a good person. She believes in the cause. She's like, whatever. But we didn't get really anything from her.
Yeah. And then we switch to White.
And oh my God, I love this scene so much. And I'm like,
the long awaited moment.
Yeah. But it's so funny, like, this scene, like the beginning of this scene as well, was like, it just shows how much he's changed.
Do you mean when he arrives and he sees that the apartment is being watched?
Yeah. He's like, he sees the villains there waiting, and he doesn't like run away or whatever. He just like starts scaling the side of the building. Like, he has this, like, he has a skill set now, and he also has this like driving determination because there's a task at hand. So and he's not afraid of a little danger. So like there's this character development in that way, which is really interesting.
Him being able to fight also development.
That's right.
But even the fact that Black attacked him is like, are you testing him? What is this?
I feel like he was, because I feel like he had to have known it was like Black. I mean, White, rather.
Warm welcome.
Yeah. Like, and it's like, it's this whole thing. It's like, I remember thinking, like, as he was arriving, like, what is he thinking, like, in this moment? Is he only like thinking about how Black could like blow shit up, or is he like thinking about how it's going to be when they first meet, or is like, and is all that blown and pushed to the side when he sees that there are guys downstairs like waiting for them, essentially. And of course we get this whole, like, I just said, like, fight thing, and it was so funny because when they showed the shot of the apartment and it's like looks like it's been ransacked, like it's such a mess, and I'm like, it was kind of always a mess, or I'm like, oh, was it a mess? Maybe it looked messy in the shot that they showed us where they had like Sean and White's clothes strewn all over the floor in their like misdirection episode. But yeah, he's 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 clever, he's smart, he tries to turn the lights on, he does all this sort of stuff, and he kind of checks the scene out before he just doesn't rush in, or like
and
whatever.
of course we have a scene with a mirror, like here before the reappearance of the doppelganger. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Doppelganger, yeah. And it's funny because I remember I read a book once. Oh God, I wish I knew what it was. Where they it was about doppelgangers, and was it a book or was it a movie? I think it was a book. And it was like about doppelgangers and stuff. And in it, they talked about mirrors and the fact that there are in some cultures and stuff that your reflection is your doppelganger. And if you merge with them, in some way, it is possible to do it or whatever, they can kill you and take on your life, take over your life, kind of a bit alien body snatchers. But
I feel like I saw a movie like this as well with maybe with Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones.
Oh, I don't know. When I either read it or saw it, it was a really long time ago, 20 years maybe. When I was a teenager or something. A long time ago.
It means it's not the same one.
No,
but
there could be something. But yeah, this idea of the darker version of yourself is your reflection.
This is why he says when he sees his brother, he is frightened.
Yeah,
because he's going to lose something. His brother is here. Of course, he's happy to see him. It's surreal to him, but at the same time, he is super aware of the fact that he is losing this life that he got here.
Yeah, he's carved out for himself, he's made it better. He's literally been living Black's life and doing it better. And it's just
oof.
And it's he can't go back though, you know what I mean? And it's he doesn't know how to go back.
And we're slapped with Black in the face when when he slaps White.
Yeah.
Because are you pretending to be me? Slap.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems for a second you think, oh wow, he is really an asshole, the way he's been painted, he's such an asshole. But he's scared for White. That's what that is. They are he it's funny. He has tried his hardest to make himself invulnerable. That's why he broke up with Eugene. That's why he's tried to cut her out of his life. But White is his ultimate vulnerability. He can't. It's it would be trying to cut out part of yourself. And so, this scene was so good, from the fight to I swear to God, Gunn should have won so many awards for this scene alone.
Oh yes! Oh my God! Yes.
His White and his Black in this scene are so different, and the discussions and the behind the scenes talks and that about how this sort of stuff was shot, where he had to keep switching between the two, was amazing. How exhausting it must have been for him.
But the way White reacts to Black, the way he talks to him, the softness, the heartbreak, the longing, the crying, it's so beautiful. The hug.
And then, of course, as I said, you have Black, and he shows this, as I said, this vulnerability and this weakness, not weakness, but softness that he has for his brother.
Familiarity.
Even as he's being hard on him, and he's and everything with him, the hitting and him saying to him, oh, you're still a crybaby and all that, he says it with a smile, there's such fondness in it.
But then
but then he realizes what he's been doing, and he's afraid.
And then the heartbreaking part starts when Black he turns away from White. He starts, reclaiming his stuff, stripping White of this new identity. And the way White talks to him, it sounds like he's pleading to leave him with something, to let him be a part of this life, because what does he have if he's thrown out? And Black is like he refuses to give
Yeah.
him anything.
Yeah.
And it's
And the
just
way
ooh,
he takes, like,
so well
remember
done.
when he took his, sorry?
So well done.
Yeah, I remember when he took his phone, I was like, oh no. I knew that there was going to be like drama with Sean, because I was like, White has no way to contact him now unless he goes directly to him. He has no way of contacting him, and like I was like, and Sean's not going to know any better, because like if Black approaches him, he's gonna do it purposefully. You know what I mean? To like to mess with it. And it was so funny. And like in that moment, I was like, oh no, that kiss that we've seen, that kiss is Black. And I was like, like in this moment, I was like freaking out so hardcore. And then like when I first watched this, and then he started taking off the jewelry, like off the earrings and stuff. Like it was like he was stripping layers away from White, and they were like layers of armor and like this identity that he'd built for himself. Like yes, it was part of like the Black persona, but it was also the things that he had absorbed into himself. And it was like he seemed to get smaller, like as like Black was like stripping these things from him, like more and more vulnerable. And I was just like, oh my god, I was so upset.
And then the last thing, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and I was so upset when I was watching that scene, and then this like little like, because my inside my brain is this like really inappropriate gremlin that like does things or like thinks things or like says things when it really shouldn't, and it doesn't really fit the moment. Like, as you know, you've been friends with me for quite a while now, you understand it. I know Morella knows exactly what I'm saying. Like, I'm one of those people who like someone will be like, oh my god, my grandma died, and I'll just start laughing uproariously for no reason. No, like not quite like that, but you know what I mean. Like inappropriate reactions to things sometimes happen with me, but like the commentary that's happening in my brain or whatever. And so I was really upset that we never got a scene where like we didn't get to have like that extra like playful episode that sometimes you get at the end of these series these days, where like it's like really a nothing episode. It's just it's like an episode to make your heart feel like fuller or something. And we never got to have like that fun like episode where like there was a scene where basically like White told Black that Sean had sucked on those earrings. Because like Black would have been like absolutely traumatized by that. And I'm like, this is what's happening in my brain. Like, this is really super traumatic stuff's happening. Gun's doing like an Academy Award winning performance. I'm like sobbing because I'm like, I remember sitting next to my mom and being like, he's taking away his identity, and like sobbing like a crazy person. And inside my brain's like, Sean sucked on those earrings. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a shame that never was addressed.
And then he tries to mention the mom. He tries to mention other things, and I think as the last resort, he mentions Todd. The last thing that he thinks is keeping them together.
Yeah, and then we get this big shocking moment, this big shocking reveal.
Da 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 da.
Everybody acts surprised.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I love how Black's like the way he talks about Todd though, even in this scene, like he's like, you're an idiot, like for trusting him, but he's also like, he's the like bastard who hurt me or whatever. But he's not like, I don't know. Once again, his reaction to me doesn't quite match like the ultimate betrayal or the like whatever, and like. The way he deals with Todd later on, I mean, it's obviously because there's history there. You know what I mean? There's like they have this relationship since childhood, and and I feel like that's it. It's like this. It's the same reason why Black can't hurt him later on, like not beyond like what he does actually do to him. It's this like twisted thing that they have, connection or whatever.
It's like it's not that serious. It's like it's them playing. He hurt me.
Yeah.
He did not attempt to kill me. He hurt me.
That's right. It's like when they were kids or something.
Yeah.
He pushed him over or broke his favorite toy. So I pushed him over and broke his favorite toy. Like
exactly.
maybe when he wakes up he'll behave better.
Mhm.
Like, you know, like it's like what kind of Wattpad story is this where they're like you know, like this is their thing. This is how I control you. I put you in a coma for a little while. Now think about what you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, but he's like, but yeah, he still is like condescending about it to why, like he's like it's almost like he's like I can handle Todd, but you can't.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Is like how I interpreted it. But yeah, it was so funny. I was just like, I remember at the time because I'm sure it was meant to be like a dun dun dun, and you know, like, and Todd was like, and not Todd, and Singh was like so devastated because people kept like really early on being like, oh yeah, it's totally Todd. Todd's evil. Todd's whatever. And he's like, you know, oh, didn't I hide it or whatever? And Peach is like, sweetie. She's like, yeah, it was pretty obvious it was you. But like, I just, as soon as I know I've mentioned this a couple of times previous episodes, but as soon as like he was in a drama with like OffGun, I was like, he's evil. I'm just like, it's just the rule of like OffGun and Sing is like, I will always think if he's in a drama with them in the future that he's evil, no matter what his character is. But yeah, so it's kind of funny.
They must do a drama where he is actually not evil to surprise us. To surprise everyone.
Have to trick us. And it's like, yeah, it turns out it's somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe like they can make like Off or Gun the evil one. I so want a drama where like one of them is like, you know, psychotic or something. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Oh, come on.
I've been reading too much dark like romance.
Meet you at the Blossom, current obsession. We're all twisted and fucked up. This is what we love. It's good.
Yeah, it's really okay. Interesting. But like it's like what is wrong with us? It's like it's so funny because I was listening to something the other day. It wasn't a podcast, it was just like a blog or something, and which I suppose it was audio, so I suppose it was like a podcast. And they were talking about like how all of the like real kind of like, I guess, first Disney generations, you know, like the generations that were raised on Disney princesses are like are now all reading, you know, like dark romance and like super twisted stuff, and they're like, and everyone's like, what happened? What happened to like wanting the Disney prince? And it's like, oh no, the Disney princes are like actually really fucked up if you go into them, you know. But like it's so funny because yeah, they're just like, how did you go from Disney princess like romance to like really twisted stuff? And it's like, well, no one actually really wants the twisted stuff. I mean, maybe some people do, but it's always interesting to read other people's, you know, whatever.
Oh, we always crave for fucked up stuff. Check out all the YI novels. Like when I was a teenager, there were so many YI novels. How like you cannot even call it a YI novel if there's no scene of torture or something like this.
Yeah.
Someone crying desperately, being I don't know, it's just their world turning, something very fucked up happening. It's normal.
I feel like it's just weird, like intrinsic human desire to want to be like on the other end of. I'm not saying it's necessarily a conscious thing, but like maybe unconscious desire of wanting to be on such an intense thing of like where you are the be all and end all of another person, because like for whatever reason that like it seems romantic to our lizard brains, you know, like whereas in reality like that's like the most horrifying thing for most people.
It's because I guess it can feel comforting to know that they can never leave you. They will never leave you because they can't, and it's comforting if it's not you. Because if you think about it in a realistic way, then it's actually frightening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, to have somebody that obsessed with you would be freaky. And like especially if you're someone like who's like me. And like you were like kind of like we like our own company as well as being like with other people. We also like to really be by ourselves. To have someone who just like would not let you ever be alone would just be, I would not be able to sustain that kind of torture. But it is interesting to think that, like, that, you know, as you said, to read about that with someone else. Especially, I think the thing is usually when you read about that, it's like reciprocated, and like in your mind, we know, like, socially, like, that's not, like, it's not sustainable. But like when
but
you
you
read
know,
about it and it's reciprocated, there's no real issue with it, you know?
but you know what is even more romantic? If you have a character like that who that character feels like they will literally die if they leave the other person, and they still set them free, and they
Yeah,
still
yeah,
decide
yeah,
to
yeah.
give them freedom. That is even, that's the
That's right.
next level.
Yeah, like where they like put the other person first, and you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then you like want them together, even though like you know it's like really fucked up and it shouldn't happen. You're just like, but they belong together. It's like, well, really, no, probably not. Like, one of them should at least be institutionalized.
Yep.
But yeah, I read some really interesting stuff recently where I'm just like, I'm like, wow, this is really good, really bad, but really good. And then I'm like, why is this entertaining? It's entertaining because it's fiction. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much discourse about like what people view and read and watch and like whatever. And there's so many things these days. Like, it's really good that, like, you know, trigger warnings exist. But at the same time, they do open the door for people to have a commentary on something that they have, like a piece of media, for example, like a book or like whatever. They see the trigger warnings, or they hear about the trigger warnings. People are talking about the trigger warnings, but they haven't actually consumed the media, so they don't actually know the context of the trigger warnings and things like that. And so it's automatically like, oh, this is bad, or this is whatever. And it's like, well, it's bad if you like live these things, or if you enact these things, or if these things trigger you. But like, if if you understand that fiction is fiction, then people, that's why trigger warnings exist, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, so people can make informed decisions.
Yeah.
But I do always think it's interesting when you can see when people are like talking about something and they haven't actually read it, or they haven't do you know what I mean? But they're just going off of what supposedly happens in the piece of media, like in the book or in the whatever. And sometimes like things happen for like a reason. Like, it might be a really fucked up reason, and you might think, wow, like, did they really need to do that to the character, or whatever? And sometimes the answer is yeah, because sometimes this sort of shit actually happens to people in real life.
Yeah,
And like,
it's a safe way to explore some topics that are quite delicate to talk about, like in when you want to mention a real situation, or it's something like something that is not, that is small, that you go through and you feel it, but when put under a microscope, your like society expects you to act like this is not hurting you, or that this doesn't matter. You're supposed to pretend that everything is okay, when in reality you feel like you're suffocating. So it is nice to be able to dive into this world where like feelings are taken seriously.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's interesting as well, because as I said, trigger warnings exist so that people can make informed decisions. You know, like, if you are like, so for example, before Christmas, I was looking into, like, my whole family, we're massive readers. And I had this idea that it might be nice to like purchase a book box subscription for my sister as part of her Christmas present. And so I was filling in this like questionnaire, because they kind of cultivate it to your personality and like your interests and your, like the things you like to read and stuff like that. And it asked, one of the things they ask about is, do you have trigger warnings? Is there anything you do not want to read about? And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is going to be a dead giveaway, because I need to now go and ask her. Like, I know some of the stuff that she reads. Like, I was pretty sure she'd be open to most things, but I was like, I need to ask her this question. And she had a health issue a couple of years ago, and she was like, I don't want to read out about anything that involves this health issue. And I was like, okay, fair enough, done. So I put that in. I didn't end up actually getting her the book subscription. I ended up buying something else. And same thing, they were like, I ended up buying just for us for like we did this like gift exchange on Christmas Eve just as a like a fun thing just for us. And what I did was I found this website where you could buy like a date with a book. And so basically it's like a blind book, like it arrives to you wrapped in brown paper, and you basically like tell the person tropes that you like, or genres that you like or whatever, give them any trigger warnings, and they send you like a wrapped book. You get like a fancy tea bag, you know, of some description, and like some cute like bits and pieces. And so it's like, you know, you spend the day with that book or whatever. So I gave the triggers to that person, and she did a really good job of picking books for my sister that she like was really interested to read. So, you know, that means that people can make an informed choice. But then I also have a friend who had some really bad stuff happen to her when she was younger, and she specifically reads things that deal with stuff that trigger her, because she finds it comforting and cathartic to like not feel alone, and also to read about how other people deal with it, or to like especially if it's
to have not to hide it, like to pretend that it's not something
that's
that's happening.
For it not to be a taboo subject that's like brushed under the rug, like you said, like everyone just assumes you know, move on and get over it or whatever. And this is a like, if they had, you know, and because sometimes bad things happen to you and you have mixed feelings about it, and you might think some of the feelings you have about it are wrong or like or whatever. And so it's interesting, as you said, to explore the ideas of like these things and how people deal with them, or how like, you know, how it all works out and everything. And it's under the safety of like fiction, you know what I mean? And it's not real in this situation, so you can, you know, set yourself outside of it. And she said to me, like, she actually really enjoys reading about these things, especially when like the perpetrator of certain trigger warnings ends in a very unfortunate way. Like, she's like, I get you know, because she's like, because you would never do that yourself. Like, you would never, you know, well, most people wouldn't anyway. Like, you know, exact revenge or whatever in a gruesome way. But like, she's like, you can. There's comfort in that. There's like growth in that. There's, you know, whatever. And it's sad that some people make judgments based on things like that. You know, that if someone likes to enjoy a media for some reason that has certain triggers or whatever, that it's like it's bad or they're bad or whatever. So while I think they're important, and I have no idea how we got on this topic. How did we get onto trigger warnings and stuff? I don't even know.
We like fucked up stuff. This is how we got here.
That's right. We like fucked up stuff, and I think it was because we were talking about the way Black and Todd deal with like problems in their relationship. Just put him in a coma. Yeah, that's how we ended up with the trigger warning conversation. And yeah, so like it's one of those things we find it fascinating, don't we? I mean, like, yeah, we have. Yeah, we will no doubt at some point talk about things that definitely, like, I, you know, really with some book series we'd like to do and that, and there are definite trigger warnings in those. And so that will be fun to explore with you guys if you're interested and you're listening.
Well,
but yeah, not me. What we're talking about now, or what we finished talking about.
We finished talking about, and I think this is it.
Episode 9. It only took us 2 years. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you for hanging out with us. Follow us on Tumblr, on Twitter. Share the episode with people who you think might be interested. Bye for now.
Bye for now.